There, socks.
All right, it says we are live. Okay, this is the point where we need a good sound check, everybody. We have a third person in the studio. We're all going to talk. Please let us know if any of us sound fucked up, too loud, too soft. We need to get this right before we get started because this is going to be a good episode.
Yep, test 1 2. Test 1 2. Hello!
Nick, say something.
What a dick.
No, seriously. It's not my channel, so it'll work fine.
Right.
So this is me talking.
All right.
You should hear me.
All right. We got the sound, the audio recording.
This is Nick talking. This is Nick talking. No, it's not Nick talking.
No. Okay. Nice.
Luna Girl says Nick is a dick.
Yes, he is.
What?
But we like
What
him.
did I do?
We like him anyway.
What did I do? Other than beat you in fantasy football.
Ooh.
Yep. See.
Got him.
Speed. Markle. What? Finally reviewing a non-chick flick. Nice.
Wait.
Dude.
The Breakfast Club is a chick flick?
According to Bronco Fett.
Whatever.
Kinda.
So, all right. Did it sound good, everybody? This
Yeah.
is why we went on live. We still have a little bit of prep to do before we actually start the show for real. But
Oh.
I need beer.
we need good, yes, black bag. I hope you like Oktoberfest because that's all that's in there.
Have any beer you like, as long as it's in October.
Yep. And then here's your
Oh,
bottle
there's
opener.
all kinds of liquor scattered around.
Well, that
there.
is true. I guess if you were more inclined for that, but
Got Jaeger?
I actually do have some in the freezer in the house.
We're gonna be cracking the Jaeger here on.
Jaeger gets me in trouble.
All right, Big Lovin says the sound is fine. How is everyone's fantasy football? Well, I destroyed Gibson because I think he's not trying anymore.
I am hoping that the Chiefs players, namely Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, have just go bananas, go absolutely fucking bananas.
And Ivo G's out. It's like, good night.
Already?
No.
We haven't even gotten to Dave's week yet.
I know, right?
I'm currently leading Tony Ferrari by, I think, 8 points.
What?
Mm.
But he has one player left. He has Marquise Brown tonight, and I need him to
Die.
break his leg or
Yeah.
something in order to have a chance.
All right. So for you, sir, we didn't get a chance to talk. Do you have your thing and you're good?
Yeah,
All right.
it'll be interesting.
Indeed. Remember, it was Dave's idea. If it like completely falls flat, this was all Dave's idea.
Totally, all David's idea.
So, sound.
You all right there?
Oh my god, I have a
Wrong pipe.
drinking problem.
Yeah. Okay. Where did this go? I keep losing my fucking mouse cursor. Pissing me off. Why is this happening?
I don't know. It's because you don't have a mouse pad.
Could be. All right. So we'll do that and that right into El Yucateco. Introduce our guest, and we'll get it going. Wait, Luna Girl's leaving?
No, I think she was saying
Oh,
good
all
night
right.
to Ivo G.
All right. I was gonna say, what the fuck? We good? Any last words before we get started for real?
Dude, I'm like, watch us talking and look at the soundboard.
All right.
We are pegged. You notice that?
Yeah, I mean, they said the sound is fine. So, and if I
Is it
look,
still clipping in the audio file?
it's actually not.
Really?
Yeah,
It's fucking weird.
it
All
is
right,
weird.
cool. As long as they say it's good, then
Yeah.
we'll go for it.
And again, if we have any audio issues at all throughout the broadcast, please say something in big bold capital
Click,
letters.
click, 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 click,
Yes,
click.
exactly. Anyway, so we good?
I think so.
Alrighty. That being said, Dave, if you want to start the countdown, and then we'll roll right into it.
All right, ready?
Hold on, I'm just gonna do this. I don't like flipping.
Oh, you know what? That's a good call.
I mean, I appreciate the keeping them together, but at this point, I need them separate.
So this is the most prep work I've ever done for a show.
I know. I
Ever.
am very impressed with the effort Dave has put in.
I did like real notes. It's fucking remarkable.
Yeah.
All right. La 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 la.
Lion face. Lemon face. Ooh.
All right, we ready?
Sure.
30 seconds.
Hang on. Fuck. because I know it's going to come through the speakers.
Oh.
All right, now you're
Now we're ready?
Yeah.
All right. Sure. Nothing's muted over there.
Well, it is now. but-
Audio started.
Yeah.
All right. Ready, set, go.
Old woman.
Man,
Man, sorry.
I'm-
What knight lives in that castle over there?
I'm 37.
What?
I'm 37. I'm not old.
Well, I can't just call you man.
Well, you could say Dennis.
I didn't know you were called Dennis.
Well, you didn't bother to find out, did you?
I did say sorry about the old woman,
What?
but from behind, from behind, you looked.
Well, what I object to is you automatically treat me like an inferior.
Well, I am king.
Oh, King, eh? Very nice. And how'd you get that, eh? By exploiting the workers. By hanging on to an outdated imperialistic dogma which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society. If there's ever going to be any progress with the...
Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here. Oh, how'd you do?
How do you do, good lady? I am Arthur, king of the Britons. Whose castle is that?
King of who?
The Britons.
Who are the Britons?
Well, we all are. We're all Britons, and I am your king.
I didn't know we had a king. I thought we were an autonomous collective.
You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship. A self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes...
Oh, there you go. Bringing class into it again.
Well, that's what it's all about. If only the people... would hear-
Please, good people, I am in haste. Who lives in that castle?
No one lives there.
Then who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What?
I told you, we're an anarcho-syndicalistic commune. We take it in turns to act as sort of an executive officer for the week.
Yes.
But all decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting.
Yes, I see.
By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs,
Be quiet.
but by a 2/3 majority in the case of more major...
Be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
What, hey? Who does he think he is?
I am your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
Well, how'd you become king then?
The lady of the lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I am your king.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds, distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony.
Be quiet.
Well, you can't expect to wield supreme executive power. Just comes some watery tart through a sword at you.
Shut up.
I mean, if I went around saying I was an emperor because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away.
Shut up, will you? Shut up.
Now we see the violence inherent in the system.
Shut up.
Come see the violence inherent in the system. Help, I'm being repressed.
Bloody peasant.
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Eh? That's what I'm on about. You see him repressing me. You saw it, didn't you?
And scene. What is up, everyone, and welcome to From a Gen X Point of View. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Lancelot to my King Arthur, Dave Martin. Hello,
I can't
Dave.
do a Lancelot. I could do this all day. I can't do a Lancelot, though.
All right, fair enough. And joining us, very special guest this week, good friend of ours from Big Swede's Excellent Adventures, every other Swede imaginable, our good friend Nick. What's up, Nick?
What's going on, man?
How
Thanks
you
for
doing?
having me, guys.
Yeah, awesome. And what are we talking about this week?
I think, but based on the lead-in, I would hope that we're talking about some Monty Python bit.
Hell yeah,
Otherwise,
we are.
we're just going to start with some random skit before each show.
Yeah, so we're talking about Monty Python. This kind of came about last week when we recorded, and we were kind of talking about Life of Brian versus Holy Grail, which was a better movie, which one was more quotable, blah, 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 blah. Nick's a big Monty Python fan, allegedly, so we brought him on, and we're going to have some fun talking it.
Yes, we are.
What else are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about El Yucateco right now.
Yeah, we are.
I think we're all fighting a battle right now with between chicken in our teeth from the delicious wings that we had.
I know. I was thinking, as you're talking, I'm picking chicken out of my teeth.
You know, and the wings were in fact delicious, and I think the recipe, I might be going out on a limb because I don't know exactly where the wings came from. But there may have been some El Yucateco in that hot sauce.
I will say Kristen's wing recipe has El Yucateco,
which
hot sauce
is brilliant.
Yes.
And it's delicioso. And well, it's not the weekend, right? So you only have El Yucateco on your eggs for the weekend.
Yep. So
which we are on Monday.
Which was yesterday and Saturday. Had eggs both days and did my typical triple X mixed in with the eggs. Did a little chili verde on the top afterwards.
Hashtag King of Flavor. How about you, Nick?
Dude, I as I've said in multiple like Instagram posts and stuff, like I got to thank you guys for getting me on board the El Yucateco train.
What?
Because I was getting it at Walmart, but my local Walmart like availability was kind of hit and miss.
Yeah.
So I went on to shopelucateco.com
Yes.
and I ordered like 2 6-packs of various El Yucateco flavors. So
Nice.
I won't be running out for a while.
See, you say that. I thought the same thing when they sent me like 12 fucking bottles in the mail.
That he
went
kept
through them like that.
That he kept all to himself, by the way.
And
Fact.
see, we go through a lot of green. The
chili verde. Yeah.
So between me, my wife uses it, and my wife's Mexican, so the fact that a legit Mexican woman likes this hot sauce, that's got to say something.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Man, that's got to be like the number one.
That should be their tagline right there. Like an authentic Mexican woman
Likes
enjoys
our-
this hot sauce.
Latinas
So
love us.
tag
Yes.
at El Yucateco _ hot sauce on Instagram. Hot sauce? Yeah, hot sauce on Instagram. I should just talk like this for the rest of the thing.
That would be funny.
I'd be done. I could do it for maybe another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
ShopElYucateco.com. Go to on Instagram at El Yucateco _ hot sauce, and at El Yucateco on everything else. When you get some El Yucateco in your body, put it on social media. Not necessarily with it in your body. Like just like when you get some, then
Can you splash it on your body and then go to El Yucateco.com?
and then take a picture. Yeah, splash it on your body, rub it on your nips, and then that. Oh God, that would burn. Oh shit. Oh, please do that. I want it videoed. Tag at Gen X POV.
I shave my chest sometimes too, so that would really burn.
Oh, it's like this is going to be a thing now. This is going to have to be a thing. So what somebody is going to put El Yucateco hot sauce on their nips. Excuse me. And I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Anyway, whatever you do with El Yucateco hot sauce, post it on social media. Tag us. Tag El Yucateco. We love the visibility. We want them to know that we're pimping this shit out as much as we possibly can. And yes, you will do it.
Yes.
That's it. I'm done.
Okay.
I said you will do it.
Oh,
that's the end.
So what do we do now?
I think it's according to the notes, we're gonna introduce Big Swede.
Oh, Big Swede, Nick, what's up, man?
Not much.
You kind of already introduced him.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was gonna say this is your first appearance on the new podcast from a Gen X point of view.
Correct.
So, are you a Gen Xer?
I am born in '77,
Perfect.
child of the '80s, and
So, all right. So,
Right in the sweet spot.
indeed. So, perfect.
Yes.
Because, today's topic, it's going to be great. Even though these movies came out, at least one of them before most of us were born.
Grail was out in 75,
Yeah. So,
and Life of Brian was 79.
right. But I mean, I still think the impact of these on, especially the nerd culture,
Oh hell
as
yeah!
we were growing up, is huge. So this is going to be great. But before we get into that, we're going to get right into our weeks. We had no 5-star reviews. So
okay.
those of you that didn't leave us 5-star reviews, fuck you. And if you haven't left us a 5-star review, please do so. On
fuck me.
God damn it! Well, he's a Google guy. That's the problem. He's got Google everything.
So here's the thing: it seems in my research anyway that iTunes is the only place you can leave a review that I found for a podcast.
which is weird with all these other apps and everything trying to come up and be podcast distributors. Also,
Yeah.
none of them have fucking review systems.
I was trying, but my wife does have an iPad, so I'm thinking I'm gonna go on there and try and get on her iPad and get it in her iTunes and leave you guys something.
There you go.
And it's not that difficult, people.
But you
So-
can find us on, like, if you're watching YouTube stream right now, thank you so much. Hit that like button. share this with all your friends. Make sure they subscribe because we need to make this push for 100 subscribers, by the way, because I'm sick of it. Like I was banging out a fucking Instagram post, and the fact that the YouTube URL is like UX capital T is 7 8 blah 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 blah. Fucking annoying.
Yes.
So get us some subscribers on YouTube, please.
Yeah. And we know y'all have fake Google accounts too. Get on with those and subscribe also.
How is it that me like doing absolutely nothing but just like BS random like hobby stuff has like 300 or something subscribers and you guys don't? What the hell's going on?
That's your tactical thing.
No. That's like I'm like almost at 4,000 on that one.
Well, that's what it is. It's spillover from that.
Possible.
It's spillover. We're breaking barriers here. That's
basically Nick is just here saying he's better than us.
No,
right?
What I'm saying is
fucking
like my channel has like I do a bunch of bullshit. So there's no reason why I should have more than you guys who are doing like a weekly podcast.
I think every single person that subscribes to Nick's podcast or YouTube channel needs to fucking get on their shit and fucking start. That drunken Scotsman guy. Yeah. Fucking get where's his ass? Where's your ass right now, huh? Motherfucker? Yeah. Talk some shit.
Yeah, Scotsman. What the hell?
Yeah, you can get on YouTube right now and talk shit. We'll interact with you on the chat, brother. Anyway.
All right, so moving into our weeks.
How did that start? What the fuck?
No idea. So for me, I'm drinking beer right now, and this is the last time I'm going to be drinking on the podcast for a month because Sober October starts on Thursday, October 1st. So I've mentioned it multiple times. I'm getting the big thumbs down over here. No alcohol, no fast food, no sweets, no candy bars. I just spit all over your fucking iPad. No optional medications, meaning no painkillers, no fucking sleep aids, nothing. I'm going cold turkey for a month. Check in with me in about 7 to 10 days and see how it's going. But for now, it's
next Monday when we're trying to do a fucking podcast and cranky pants over here is going to be fucking ridiculous.
Yep. But I'm
going to slip shit into your fucking water. That's what.
I had somebody bring me a candy bar at work today.
Oh yeah,
like, you motherfuckers. Yeah, so
get it in.
They know the caramellos are my favorite candy bars, so somebody brought me one at work.
Shit.
Even though they know I'm like trying to be healthy and do all kinds of shit. So I've got saboteurs everywhere around me.
Yeah, exactly.
I will continue. You're not like giving up like quality time, are you?
No.
That's a completely different month.
Right.
That's a different month.
Right. So for football, I know you guys are, I'm sure, to get into the Eagles shit, but the 49ers, we abused the Giants. Sorry, Luna Girl, but it wasn't even a fair fight, let's be honest. Even with like half of their starting lineup out, the 49ers still just fucking trounced the Giants. You guys are in a rebuilding year, I understand. So I'm not going to sit here and like, be like, fuck yeah, Niners going to the Super Bowl. No, that's they won the game they should have won. Now, next week will be interesting, to say the least. So,
well, you got the Eagles next week, right?
Yeah. In California, so
which it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, not really.
It doesn't matter where you're playing a fucking game. The fact is, they might as well have the bubble thing happening because there's absolutely zero. What at the Saints game last night, they had 870 people, like 870 fans.
Yeah.
In a stadium that fills 75,000.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
The most I've seen was the KC game.
Yeah, they had like 10,000 or something. Yeah, it's all based on percentages, but fuck. Anyway, fuck your 49ers.
So again, I'm not going to go parading around the neighborhood because it's the Giants.
And you're not a Cowboys fan because that's what Cowboys fans.
Well, yes, but the Cowboys did lose, so that's cause for celebration all around.
It's a celebration, bitches.
Indeed. Besides that, I know I've talked a lot about how I've been doing a lot of piano practice, kind of learning that. And now all of a sudden I'm getting this itch. And you kind of saw it a little bit when we were over at Nick's house a couple weeks ago. Now I'm getting the itch to like want to try to learn how to play guitar. So I actually reached out to you a few days ago and I asked Nick, like, what's a good starter guitar for somebody to learn, for who's already able to read some sheet music, learning piano. So he gave me a suggestion. Payday is in 2 days and I'm probably going to buy a guitar. And
I'm going to start with the ukulele. That's how Kate started. With a ukulele. No bullshit.
It's different though.
But it got her learning, like it got her finger moving and everything else. I mean, and she was younger and a girl. But
are you done?
Still work for you.
You don't finish
what's wrong with the ukulele? They're awesome instruments. And when she played it, it was fucking awesome. And she went from the ukulele onto the guitar and had like a really good transition.
So anyway, I'm going to get a guitar in a couple of days when we get paid. And thank you, Nick, for your suggestion. I appreciate it.
No problem.
And that's really it for me. It's been a lot of work and, usual gym and shit. So
follow him on Instagram. You can see all his fucking
Yes.
gym shenanigans, getting
Indeed.
pissed off at fucking people not opening his
What
gym
the
in time.
fuck? Seriously, okay? Your hours are from 7 to 7 on Sunday, right? They're open 24 hours during the week. They're only open 7 to 7 on the weekend, right? For reasons, because apparently people don't go to the gym on the weekends. So if you're going to open at 7, you say your hours are at 7 on Sunday, open the fucking gym at 7, not at fucking 8 o'clock or 8:30, or this week it was only like 7:30. But tell these fucking purple-haired fucking piece of shit teenagers that you have working for you to get out of fucking bed on Sunday at 6 o'clock and go to fucking work and open the goddamn gym.
Have you actually talked to somebody about this? Like,
I texted the manager on Sunday.
did you get any response?
Yes, because
With Karen on him, huh?
yeah. Well, see, and I even told him, I'm like, look, shit happens, right? That's why I didn't say anything last week. But this is the second fucking Sunday in a row that your gym has opened up over a half an hour late. What the fuck? My time is valuable, okay?
Right.
I don't know about the rest of these fucking peons and Voorhees, but my time is very valuable. So open your fucking gym or I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. I pay you money and to have an expectation of being open at a certain time, unless there is extraneous circumstances, like
Yeah.
you said. I think you're being reasonable.
So, but yeah, the manager gave me his card when I signed up the first day the gym was open in New Jersey because of pandemic and bullshit.
Mhm.
So yeah, he happened to be there and he gave me his card. So I fucking used it. I texted him as I'm sitting in the fucking parking lot waiting for the goddamn gym to open on Sunday. So
Hopefully somebody gets their ass reamed for that.
indeed, he said he'd take care of it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah. So that was my week. How about you, Dave?
So I'm still super excited about the Squadrons pre-order. I mean, honestly, it just as it gets closer and closer, like
What day does that come out again?
October 2nd.
Oh fuck! So soon.
Yeah, on Friday.
When will then be now?
Really soon, like this Friday.
Okay.
So again, I pre-ordered it on Xbox and fucking PC. I'm most likely going to stick to PC, but I can anticipate, like, if I wanted to get on and play real quick, maybe do it on the Xbox. I got to see how that transfers over though. So with the gameplay, I'm wondering if it is going to allow me to say, okay, here's my character. Let me play it on the PC, and then I can come over and play it on Xbox.
Yeah, some games are like that. Some games, like, it's just you have an account that
Right.
you log into.
Isn't
and
that how
we're-
fucking the erectile dysfunction game or whatever? What's that called?
Elite Dangerous?
That one, yes.
And somehow I knew what you were talking about too.
Well, like when you see it on fucking Reddit, it's all ED this, ED that, and I guess because I'm of that age, like all I can think about is the ED commercials. They're like, oh, so ED to me means erectile dysfunction, not fucking Elite Dangerous or whatever.
Is there something else you want to talk about, Dave?
Look, dude, I am not afraid to fucking take advantage of the any pharmacological advantages.
So anyway,
Squadrons.
Jesus.
We're gonna play Squadrons, and it's gonna be fucking great. And the memes that are talking about, like, hey, it's 2 a.m. Oh, I bet he's cheating on me, and like us at 2 a.m. fucking on Squadrons flying TIE fighters and shit. That'll be
standing by.
That'll be a couple of days, and that kind of transitions into this Thursday, right? So you're starting Sober October, right?
Yes.
My daughter's birthday is October 1st. She turns 21. So Thursday we're gonna take her out.
Boy, what a dichotomy there,
Right, is it? So we're gonna take her out on Thursday night. She wants to go into the city, and then Friday night we're doing like a little gathering with some some of my cousins that are like her age, and gonna get the pregame at the house, and we're gonna have subs and some other shit. Have a hoagie platter and some other shit, and then they can get fucking carb loaded. And then I'm going to put them in Uber XL and be like, go have fun. Because dad is not going out into the fucking city to go drinking with these guys.
Right.
I did that for my cousins when they turned 21 because, they are younger than me, but it was still fun. I felt like I'm more of a bouncer, to be honest.
Right.
But yeah, with my daughter, like, okay, take her out, have a good time. So that's Friday. So I'll be drinking Friday into the wee hours. So my first experience on this game is probably going to be as a fucking drunken mess. So
nice.
But yeah, like you said, it's that dichotomy. The fact that my youngest is turning 21 is like,
I couldn't even imagine.
It's just insane. Like, because it's that last threshold, right? It's that last barrier of like, they're definitely not children anymore. I mean, yeah, you turn 18, you're adults, but like now I don't have really They're real adults, like no limitations adults.
And it's funny you mentioned that too, because I was actually talking to Lunar Girl offline this morning, and she was talking about how her daughter is like texting her asking about like health insurance advice and things like that. It's weird when your kid's like
my
old
son,
enough to have to deal with shit like that.
My son does the same thing. I mean, he's older to the point now where he can't be on our insurance at all, just based on the age. So he's had to go out and he's gotten his health insurance through the school, which thank God they have it out there, and it's reasonable because fucking Obamacare is stupid, it's expensive. But yeah, adult problems. You start dealing with fucking adult problems. So it's fucking crazy. We talked about it a little bit before the show. A tie. we spoke at length last week, Jason and I, about a lot of things. There was some rants, there was some political rant, then there was a fair long diatribe about the product that the NFL is putting out. And I stupidly fucking sat my ass down and made sure that I watched the fucking football game.
The Eagles football game.
The Eagles football game. What other game?
Well, the 49ers were actually playing here locally at the same time.
Yeah, they were the game of the week, right? They were the Fox game of the week for the 49ers Giants.
Which I can't imagine why.
I don't either. Well, it's because Giants, I guess. And then the Eagles were on CBS or whatever.
Yeah.
Which actually, to me, I didn't hate the fucking announcers.
Yeah.
Like, because usually I thought those guys were fine. They called it like it was. There wasn't a lot of fucking jerking off that like you get from Daryl Johnston and fucking Troy Aikman and Joe motherfucking Buck.
Fucking Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah. I'm Chris Collinsworth.
Now here's a guy.
I watched like 10 minutes of the Sunday night game, but anyway, diverging to the fact that we had a fucking tie. We had a fucking tie. A tie.
That's pretty sad.
A fucking tie. Now, I am not one of those people who goes, well, at least it wasn't a loss. No, fuck you.
Worse.
I would rather, I think ties in the NFL are fucking ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. That seems to be happening more often. Isn't it not? I mean, we've had several ties these past few seasons.
Well, with the changes in the overtime rules, it's more likely to have a tie than it was with the just traditional sudden death.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, like,
field goal and it's over,
Yeah.
Right. But now it's like field goal, and then whoever gets the next point. So already you're leaning more towards the tie. But fuck, like, neither offense was really doing much of anything in overtime.
Listen, the Eagles right now they're not a good football team. They're not. That 11-6 prediction that I made, I must have been fucking high because this team, and granted, we didn't know what product we were going to get.
Yeah.
I don't want to dwell on it. So the fact of the matter is Eagles are not a good football team. We're going against the 49ers team, which I'm curious to see what the spread's going to be. I don't know what the early spread is. I'm guarantee it's probably going to be like probably 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I was going to say like 3 to 4 points.
No, I'm willing to bet.
If it's not at least a touchdown, somebody's smoking crack.
Yeah. Wow.
So that, I mean, the Eagles can't stop the run. They're
the 49ers strong suit right now.
The secondary, thank God. Like I was sitting watching my father-in-law watching the game, watch Darius Slay go out, and I'm like, he'll be back. He just hyperextended. He'll be back, and thankfully he came back. Otherwise, we'd have been fucked. It's like Big Swede was saying, the fucking practice squad all stars that are on this fucking football team.
Mm.
So, but that being said, I'm gonna switch that off.
Yeah,
and I'm going to be like, fuck your 49ers. Eagles are going to fucking win that football game. How's that? How do you like them apples?
I think it's rather humorous.
That's what I'm going for.
All right, there you go.
But yeah, I'll fucking tie. It was a better product. Honestly, I don't know if it was the network coverage or whatever. Still, though, the fake fucking crowd noise. The fake fucking crowd noise drives me insane. Especially when this crowd noise suddenly stops so that I can hear the guy actually catch the football. I like hear the leather like hit the glove of the guy. Like you can't tell me that fucking crowd noise is in the stadium at all.
Oh, and when the Eagles made that last punt in overtime with like minute and 40 left, that crowd would have booed them out of the fucking stadium.
Yeah, out of the fucking state.
Yeah.
They would have said, go up the turnpike and fucking go play football with that shitbag fucking Meadowlands Giants and Jets nonsense.
Yeah, the second WP sent that punt unit out, that place would have just erupted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, Scott, Johnny on the spot. People in the chat, thank goodness.
I know.
3.5 points.
3.5 points is the current spread.
Well, because the Niners are still without half of their fucking starters right now.
Well, so is the fucking Eagles.
Yeah.
We have no wide receivers. None. Zero. Hines Ward. Not Hines Ward. I take Hines Ward out of fucking retirement.
Yeah.
Deshaun
Jackson?
No, he's done. That
That
motherfucker's done.
He's broke again.
He played 2 quarters in a football game. Like the first time seeing him in the second quarter, and then he couldn't make it to the fucking half. Fuck you. Retire, dude. Sorry. Like, and the one play where you think, oh, Deshaun Jackson, he's fucking got 2 corners with him running down the fucking field. You're supposed to run past those dudes.
Yeah.
Like Carson Wentz should not be out throwing you. That's your job. You're Deshaun fucking Jackson. Your job is to run faster than everybody else and get to the fucking footballs. And he didn't. You're done, dude. You're done. And then hopefully when Rieger comes back in the middle of the season, then we'll see what that actually looks like.
That kid's, I mean, obviously small sample size, but that kid's, I think he's going to be a player. But it just sucks that he got hurt right out the gate.
All right. So remember what I said at the beginning of the show, like before we went live. We're not spending an hour talking about the fucking Eagles, so we're done. No more Eagles talk. You're cut off.
49ers.
We're not going to talk about the Niners either. We're going to talk about stuff that people might actually care about. Do we want to ask Nick what he's been doing this week?
Yeah, what have you been doing? I know you haven't been working.
No, I have not been working. I decided, it was kind of decided for me because the stupid fucking company we work for, so long story short, I work for this contractor.
Not a Chinese national company.
Yes.
Okay.
So the company I work for basically lost the contract, and another contract is coming in, taking over in the spring, which we'll then kind of shift over to. But in the meantime, since our company knows that they no longer have this contract, they don't give a shit anymore.
Wow.
Like the guy that's supposed to be, we have our liaison that talks to the company, for our group of contractors. This dude at I'm not going to name the name of the company, but this dude at corporate is like ghosting everybody. Like won't answer questions, won't answer emails. They changed their leave policy to where we're not allowed to carry over any leave after September 30th. So I have to use every bit of leave I have before the end of September. So I took the last 2 weeks off.
Nice.
And last year, something like this happened, and at least I don't even know if they gave us.
They let us keep 40 hours, and everything over 40 hours,
they
paid us. So if you had 80 hours, they'd give you a week of pay, and you keep the 40 hours that was left over. You'd carry that over the next year.
That's not terrible.
But then this year, they're like, you're not allowed to carry over leave
at all, which is fucking ridiculous.
And like a lot of people had questions about that. Like, what happens if we're over? Do we get paid out again, or is it just disappear? And then another guy was like, he's planning on taking leave in like December. So he was saving up his leave. Right. And he's like, well, is there any exemption to this policy to where because by December, I'm not going to have enough leave saved up if I have to use it all.
Right.
So yeah, dealing with all that bullshit. So I just took the last 2 weeks off. I've been, doing shit around the house. Dave heard about my issues with the Magnum, like one thing after another breaking down. So we went and we bought Mama a new car. So she got a new car.
Excellent.
Which is cool. So been doing that, and then sitting around the house, enjoying not dealing with stuff at work. The fucking Eagles and a goddamn tie. WP playing scared because that was a complete scared coaching move.
I gotta say, I can't help but focus on the new ink that you've gotten since last time I saw you. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, if you can see it on the YouTube, we've got a Vader tattoo, Darth Vader with the fucking mask half ripped off from Ahsoka, so you can see Anakin's eye, and then you've also got Palpatine with the lightning
throwing some lightning. Yep.
Very
it's good
impressive.
To see the swelling finally
went down.
Yeah.
I still got some spot like this area here in the ditch, like where your arm bends. God, what a dude! Don't ever get a tattoo in the ditch because it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's still not good. Like there's some scar tissue and stuff in there, but I mean overall, like especially like the face, that stuff healed really well. So I'm happy with that.
Even the background like is super sharp.
Yeah,
really
it looks
good.
great.
Yeah.
Really, really good shit. So
yeah. Other than that, I'm probably gonna lose my fantasy game this week. I'm leading by like 8 points, but old Tony Ferrari has a player left tonight, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Unless he has a really bad game, I'm probably gonna lose.
I mean, Tony was dominating last season, and then he kind of fell at the end.
There was one point where I was up like 60, 70 points at one point.
Holy shit.
And then the afternoon game, Russell Wilson and Keenan Allen just blew up, and all of a sudden I was like barely leading, and I'm like, I gotta say one thing though, like Tony Ferrari, like the response video to me was on point. Like that was so great.
I do love all the shit talking that's going on in the cantina right now with the fantasy football.
I was going to say the same thing. It's really fun watching the kind of the videos and the back and forth in the sidebar cantina for all the football stuff. You know, a bunch of nerds fucking playing fantasy football.
Yeah, and if you are listening and you're not playing fantasy football with us and you want to, you're going to have to join the Sidebar Cantina private Facebook group.
Yes.
Because that's your in, right? So go onto Facebook, search the Sidebar Cantina, join that Facebook group, and that's where we are, and you can talk to us. And if we like you, we might let you into our fantasy football. Since we have some people who apparently aren't paying attention this year.
Yeah, we got to get to the bottom of that. I honestly haven't been paying attention.
Yeah.
I barely keep track of my team. Which, oh, by the way, just to put a cap on the fantasy football thing, I have to hand it to the Fets. You know, Bronco Fett.
They brought it this year. Like Bronco Fett, like punched me in the fucking face last week.
Yeah, and this week I'm probably going to lose to Orange Jacket guy.
Yeah.
So based on a performance of fucking Dak Prescott too, by the way, which thank God.
I kicked his ass.
Yeah.
I don't know what's your problem.
Dak fucking goes out of his mind, throws the most fucking passing yards he ever did, and they still lost. So at least the fucking Cowboys lost. But yeah, fantasy's been great this year.
I gotta say, fuck fantasy football for making me root for the goddamn Cowboys. That's all I
got. That is rough.
This week I had Zeke Elliott, the fucking feed me cereal eating bitch. I hate him.
Ohio State piece of shit.
I also had CeeDee Lamb. So I'm sitting here rooting for the fucking Cowboys to make plays so I can win my fantasy game. Fuck fantasy football.
It hurts. It kills you a little bit inside every time you got to root for the Cowboys, which is why I try not to take Cowboys players. I try not to take Cowboys players, Raiders players. I never take fucking Detroit or Cleveland players.
Right.
So,
yeah, I agree. If I can keep Cowboys off of my lineup, I will do that.
I was number 3 pick. Zeke Elliott's there. Like you can't just not take Zeke Elliott with the number 3 pick because you don't like the Cowboys. You just can't.
You can in a league where you're not playing for anything. Like,
that is true.
If you're in a money league, then yes, you have to make decisions like that. Well, but if you're just playing for bragging rights, you could probably get away with it.
If you're playing with less, like if there's less teams in your league, you might get away with that as well. But like we're sitting at 12 teams.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough to pass on a guy like that.
All right, so we've lost pretty much everybody who doesn't like football at this point. Do we want to move on and get into our main topic today?
Yeah, let's. Let's do it.
All right. Does anybody need a break before we get started?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Let's do it.
So Monty Python. This is a great subject. Oh man, so much to get into, and this all again generated from Dave and I having a back and forth about which was better, Holy Grail or Life of Brian. So. We're just going to kind of talk about both, talk about our history with both, what we liked about each one. I had a unique set of circumstances this time around. My 2 youngest sons, Ben and Adam, I made them watch Holy Grail for the first time 2 days ago. So they're 12 and 13 respectively. And I'll tell you how they kind of felt about Holy Grail, who liked it, who didn't, what parts they liked, what parts they didn't. And we'll just kind of, we'll free flow this thing.
And then at the end, a decision will have to be made. Which one is better?
Okay, fair enough.
Because Nick's here to be the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay, that's what it is?
Yeah.
All right, so you've got in here our background, kind of how we came about. So you've got it started with Nick. Do you remember anything about the first times you watched these movies? What the circumstances were? Anything specific about your first viewings of either of these movies?
So I was late to the party on Monty Python. My first, like, I don't remember the exact circumstances, but it was after I joined the Air Force.
Wow,
Yeah.
that late, huh?
I was living in the dorms, and the dorms we had at the time was like what we called the mods. So there was like each floor had like 6 rooms, and then you had a common bathroom and a common like kind of living room.
Oh, what are those?
And I came in one day, and there was a few of the dudes sitting in the common area there, and they were watching on TV, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, because it was just like really odd, and like it had just started. Like I think they were watching Holy Grail, and it was on the scene with the Frenchman, where the French dude is taunting him.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What the fuck is this? And like I'm like standing there. I wasn't planning on stopping, but I'm just like, what the hell are you watching?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. But yeah, so I sat, like, finally I end up sitting down. I'm like, this is pretty funny. Like, it's my style of humor, which it's funny because my wife, the stuff that I find funny, she rolls her eyes at. So yeah, that was my first experience with it. I want to say it was probably like 96, 97 time frame. So I was, like I said, I was a little late to the party, but that was where it started for me.
All right. And anything about Life of Brian?
Life of Brian I watched a little while after, because like first of all, I didn't know it existed.
Right. Holy Grail is the gateway drug for Monty Python, it seems like.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I searched it out, and I think honestly, it was the same dude that was watching it had like a DVD or VHS of Life of Brian.
It would have been VHS back then.
So I ended up watching it with the same dude, and I think there's I won't give away yet, but I think there's great stuff in both movies. But there definitely is a runner.
Excuse me.
Okay. All right. So who do you have next on the list? Oh, you have me. So for me, a little bit late, I guess. I saw Holy Grail in high school. I believe it was freshman year of high school, like at school, because I don't know if your guys' schools growing up were like this, but whenever you were right about to go on a holiday, like either the day before fucking Christmas vacation or whatever, the teachers don't give a fuck.
Right.
They're just trying to get out the fucking door. And half the time, the classes, they just put on a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember my English teacher at the time, who was also our drama teacher, Mr. Orr, great guy, by the way. He's just like, you guys are just going to watch Holy Grail today as the last thing we do in English class before we go on Christmas break. And it was done over like 2 days. And he put on Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I had heard a couple of references from it before, but I really had no visibility on Monty Python. No Flying Circus exposure, no exposure to the movies whatsoever. And obviously, after watching Holy Grail, I'm like, oh, this is fucking great. So immediately gravitated towards that. Life of Brian, I've got a really interesting story. So I think it was like the next year or 2 years later, I had this bad breakup with a girl. I was dating a girl in high school, and nerdy kid in high school, you don't really get that many opportunities to actually have a girlfriend.
Right.
So I'm dating this girl, and she breaks up with me. So I'm like fucking devastated at this point. My friend Doug, who you know from one of my previous podcasts, he caught wind of this. He calls me up. He's like, dude, you all right? I'm like, yeah. Like, come over to the house. I got some movies I'm going to show you. It'll be good. I'm like, all right, fine. So I go over to his house and he shows me Life of Brian. And we watch Life of Brian, and I fucking love it. And then you get to the last scene, which I know this is kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but the always look on the bright side of life.
Uh-huh.
When they go into that fucking song number, after spending a whole day fucking like, fretting about this girl who just fucking dumped me earlier in that day, it like completely changed everything for me. Like completely lightened my mood. It was such a shift for me. And then over the preceding years, rewatching both, I certainly have an opinion about which one was the better movie, but that was my exposure to both of those.
Well, there's something to be said too for, like, I think we've kind of alluded to it in talking about other movies. It's as much the movie as the experience you had with it. Like if you just go in, I think sitting there watching movies dryly, like you're getting the movie, but you're not getting anything out of it. Whereas if you go and have it relatable to an experience, then it's going to have that much of an impression on you. So I know for me, I came from nerds. Like, so my dad and my uncles, they were all into Monty Python and Flying Circus. I mean, that shit came out in the mid 60s.
Yeah.
So, you know, the whole nexus of Monty Python kind of is with that generation, right? Our parents' generation. And they were all into it. So one of the records, I think we talked about this a little bit before, but I actually had a record player in my bedroom, and I had a handful of records. I had a Billy Joel record, I had a Bruce Springsteen record, I had Monty Python, another Monty Python record.
Yeah.
And I would play that constantly.
So is that the one that we were talking about before that was basically they redid a bunch of the skits from Flying Circus in audio format? Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the one. It's yes.
Yeah.
Because it's the cover. If you look at the cover art for the LP, it was actually it was supposed to be the oh fuck, I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name of the fucking thing. It was like it's talking about it was like German music or some shit like that, and it's all fucking scratched off the cover. I can't think of it.
I'm gonna find it. You keep talking.
So
Can
so
you pull that up?
I had that LP, and we heard the references all the time. Like you'd hear kind of things going back and forth within the family. So listening to Monty Python at an age where it was so impressionable for like those lines and that shit to like would stay with you forever. So that when I finally got an age, like listening to his records, I was audio wise for probably 5-6 years before I even saw Holy Grail.
Wow.
So I was familiar with the skits. I was familiar with the voices. You know, I already had like a quiver of fucking Monty Python shit.
Yeah.
And then by probably sometime in middle school, actually seeing the Holy Grail like all the way through, because I think because it was on television,
right?
And I got to see it all the way through and sit there like, okay, having this Flying Circus kind of like basic build, and then put Holy Grail on top of that was just like, this is the best fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
I didn't see Life of Brian until I was in high school.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll talk about it as we get through, but like impressions being a particular thing, like I saw Holy Grail at the perfect time where it was like, all right, you've already got a bunch of Monty Python shit. You already have this like skit kind of comedy thing that I like listening to. Now put fucking Holy Grail on top of that. It's like fucking putting a perfect icing on that cake. Yeah, and I think we talked about this a little bit before. And I was in a theater arts class, you know, being again a nerdy kid trying to be somewhere where girls are.
Yeah.
And I did the Lumberjack song. Like so we had to do it was, I forget what the actual terminology is, but I was on the stage by myself in the flannel shirt and everything else. And I did the whole Lumberjack song, like soup to nuts, in the voice too.
Wow.
That's kind of like where my voice shit started. Was
Really?
with Monty Python, like doing this, and then getting, you know, boom, because it was the dudes playing women, all through the Monty Python skits. So getting the high fucking voice and doing that shit, I was all about it. Like the spam skit, you could have asked fucking 10-year-old Dave, hey, you know, do the spam skit. I would have done the whole thing with the voices.
Wow,
like that's how much of an impression it had, because it was kind of that. Because my parents were into it. You know, my parents and my dad and my uncles specifically. I don't know if my mom was ever into it, but it was definitely one of those things that was kind of ingrained in my childhood. And by the time I got to high school, I was like, oh yeah, this is fucking brilliant. And thankfully there was a lot of other kids that had the same experience. And a lot of it was because of Holy Grail.
Yeah.
So, and let's face it, when you look at Holy Grail, like just doing a Google search, right, trying to find information to put in the notes, like you put Holy Grail, Monty Python Holy Grail into Google, you're getting like fucking all kinds of shit in there.
Oh yeah.
Put Life of Brian in there, there's like barely a Wikipedia article in there. And I don't know if it's just one of those things where if we're talking about for Gen Xers, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the things are going to influence us as Gen Xers, like the amount of Holy Grail shit that was out there in front of everybody compared to the Life of Brian, kind of, I think.
Well, it
was availability.
And also it's, you know, it's one of those things where a lot of the casual viewers liked Holy Grail. Like the hardcore people loved it, and so did the casual people, right? But then the people that were hardcore about it started to look deeper into their catalog and look at what else they had done. So think about it in terms of music, like Metallica, the Black Album that came out in 91, right? You know, that was a lot of people's first exposure to Metallica. Some people just took it on surface level and are like, yeah, Enter Sandman, great song. Other people are like, oh, I like this Metallica. Let's see what else they have.
Right.
So, you know, you kind of do it that way in that comparison. So
no, I
people
100% agree.
Who really like that style of humor then started to look deeper, and then you find things like Flying Circus, Life of Brian,
and
Meaning of Life, if you want to go that far.
Yeah. Well, in so I put in here when I had the album, right? I had that LP, and then I was I think it was going into my junior year of high school. I got the CD, like multi CD set. It was called The Final Ripoff. It came out in 92.
That's what it was, The Final Ripoff.
Because it had it looks like claw marks across, and there's like guts spewing out.
Yeah.
And that one, it was like multi-disc. It had everything on it.
Right, because that was my first exposure to the Argument Clinic, which is still my favorite Flying Circus skit, is the Argument Clinic.
And honestly, I would have chosen that one to do but we had 3 people, so the intro skit worked out with the 3 people. But yeah, Argument Clinic is definitely one of those fucking classics.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
So, how do you guys want to do this? I figure we should start with Holy Grail. We'll just kind of give our thoughts on Holy Grail. Like I said, I watched it again on Saturday with my kids. I have some reactions from that, which, by the way, all of the Monty Python shit is on Netflix right now. So if you want to watch Monty Python, Netflix, that's where to get the stuff. But turn it back over to our guest. Do you have any... did you rewatch it in preparation for the show?
I've watched Holy Grail probably no less than probably 10 times since Dave asked me to come on.
Wow.
I watched I watched it myself a couple times. I actually sat my 9-year-old down with me. I was watching it, and he started watching it, and he thinks some of it is funny as hell too. And like my wife comes in, she's like, "What are you guys watching?" "Oh, we're watching Monty Python." And she's like, looks at him, and she's like, "You're watching this too?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's funny. You gotta." And she's like, "No."
Wow. So she's still not convinced.
I've corrupted the youth.
Nice.
With my Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So yeah, I've watched it a bunch of times, dude. I've watched that movie more times than I could even count. It's just like it's full of like quotable lines and like memes and. Even with the fantasy football thing, me and Kelly last week, the shit talking in the cantina turned into Monty Python and the Holy Grail gifs and stuff on Facebook. So lots of cool stuff in there.
So okay, you exposed your 9-year-old to it. So what was the overall impressions? Were there any points when this was your son?
Yeah, my youngest son.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So at any point did he get bored? Did he laugh like harder than other scenes? I'm
trying to think of what his favorites. He loves the Lancelot scene.
Yes.
So
that was
because it's funny because it's a kind of a parallel to this SpongeBob episode where they're talking about the Krabby Patty, and you got the guy like the picture of the Krabby Patty slowly getting bigger, and you go and it keeps on going for like 30-40 seconds.
Yeah.
So that scene with Lancelot running, you hear the drums, and you see Lancelot running. And then he goes back to the guards, and then he's running again. Yeah. And it goes like 5 or 6 times, and all of a sudden, ha! And he starts stabbing him.
Which honestly, that was always my favorite scene of the movie. But yeah, both of my kids, my 12 and 13-year-old, absolutely loved the Lancelot scene. That was their favorite scene by far in the movie.
And I honestly, I think one of the parts he laughed the most on was in that Lancelot story where, Lancelot and his little like dude, or he jumps across the thing, and all of a sudden, he gets hit with the arrow, and then it's like, "Message for you, sir."
Yes.
he made me rewind that like so many times because he was laughing his ass off about it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and that was another favorite scene of mine was "Message for you, sir."
And what's really fun about this, like as you're talking about getting like this younger generation into it, there's no cursing. Yeah. Like this is like there's not real cursing.
There is in Life of Brian for sure. In Holy Grail. Yeah.
In the Holy Grail,
you hear shit once or twice.
Yeah,
he doesn't have shit all over him.
Yeah.
Right. but I mean, shit, you hear in fucking Spaceballs probably has more
shit.
Yeah, but I guess the point was it's something you can sit them down with and like not be terrified that they're going to get something out of it.
The Castle Anthrax is a little bit pushing it for my 9-year-old. he's like, so why is he in peril? Never mind.
That's true.
Why do they all want him to spank him?
Fuck the spankings.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
you'll get it when you're older.
Yeah, naughty zoot. That's all. That's all you got to know.
When both of you, so did you have your kids watch Life of Brian too?
No, because I knew right from the start that it would be over their heads. Because my whole argument with this one versus the other is Life of Brian is just a smarter, more adult-oriented movie where you can expose kids to Holy Grail. It's fun. It's I wouldn't even say fast-paced, but it's more at an adolescent level of humor. Whereas Life of Brian, it's all about the dialogue. You kind of have to know some of what was going on as far as like the Roman imperialism, Jesus and his whole thing. You got to kind of know some of that stuff to get a lot of the humor. And my kids just aren't on that level.
Well, I think too, if you went like to Sunday school every week and you have the story of Jesus as it's been beat into you, to see it portrayed in this manner makes it that much funnier.
Right. And I mean, we could spend a whole lot of time talking about like the backlash they got for this movie, but that's a whole episode in itself. So just from a pure entertainment standpoint, I didn't even bother exposing my kids to this because I knew it would all be over their heads. They wouldn't really quite get it. But for me, I think Life of Brian is fucking brilliant.
You make a good point, because the Holy Grail is one thing that I noticed between the two movies is that Holy Grail to me was faster, and whether it was my adult ADHD or whatever, but I was entertained throughout the entirety of the story. Up to the point where they're, even in between things when they're fucking, you're looking at the coconuts and shit. The fact that they did all. I wish I should have had that playing in the beginning.
Indeed.
But even with that, with the fact it was shot on location, I mean, both of these movies had like really intricate set pieces.
Yeah.
For such potty humor.
And
British potty humor.
They were probably pretty low budget too overall.
Yeah, you can tell by the lighting.
But the locations were great for both movies.
Yeah, the actual Scottish fucking castles, and they're sitting there doing the fucking, the shit with the French. And then I don't know how deep we want to get into individual scenes.
Yeah,
but yeah, I forgot all about those bits in the Castle Anthrax.
Yeah, and showing this to my kids, I wrote some notes. First of all, Holy Grail. The subtitles. 10 seconds into this movie, I'm going through the menu like, why the fuck are the fucking subtitles on? I completely forgot about that thing. I hadn't watched this movie in well over 10 years.
Really?
Completely forgot the subtitle joke at the beginning of this, because at first the subtitles start like normally, like they look normal anyway. So I'm like, what the fuck? Why are there subtitles on this thing? And I'm going through the Netflix menu going like, why the fuck? And then I'm like, all right, I'll just let it play. And then I see the jokes. I'm like,
45 years later, it still hits.
Yeah.
It still hits.
Yeah. And my kids thought the subtitles were hilarious, by the way. The first laugh that I got was the Dennis line, right? Well, you could say Dennis. I didn't know you were called Dennis. Yeah. That was the first time I laughed in this rewatch. My kids' first reaction came with the Black Knight, which obviously a very iconic scene.
Right.
'Tis but the flesh wound,
Your arm's off.
No, it isn't.
And that was
worse.
Yeah, so that was the first time they reacted to anything. Up to that point, it was completely stone-faced. So when God showed up and he's like, this is the point where my youngest son, Ben, is like, can I go? So he was not having this movie.
Checked out.
The scene with Brave Sir Robin, that is still one of my favorite scenes with the minstrels. Brave, 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 brave Sir Robin. His head bashed in his head, bowels ripped out, and his liver removed. In his
That's enough music.
Yeah, I love that scene. My kids didn't react to that at all. I'm like, oh, you guys didn't like that? But yeah, like we said before, the Lancelot scene where he's just going through the castle, slaughtering everybody, like chopping down women and everything else.
The flowers on the wall.
Yeah, it cuts the flowers. My kids both thought that was fucking hilarious. So that was by far their best scene. And then when they got to the Bridge of Death, that was when my youngest son Ben finally checked out. He's like, I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, the Bridge of Death was a little. It had gotten to a point where it was starting to play itself out.
Yeah,
you know, I can't say I disagree.
But even that scene I thought was very clever. I still think is very clever. What is your name, Sir Lancelot? What is your quest? I seek the Holy Grail. What is your favorite color?
Blue. No, green.
Well,
yeah, he goes across. And then,
yeah,
well, that's easy.
Yeah, exactly. He's like blue. Okay, off you go. It's like, oh, okay. And then you have
the capital of Assyria.
I don't know that. Ah! I thought all that was great.
The swallow.
How do you know so much about swallows?
Yeah,
you have to know these things when you're king.
Oh, and that is one thing about the humor, especially in this one. And we got into a little bit of it when we did our scene at the beginning of the show. How when Arthur is trying to move the conversation on, people aren't letting it go. Like at the very beginning when they're talking about the swallows, when he's at the castle, he's like, okay, well, go and tell your lord. Look, a swallow has to beat its wings. And he's trying to move on, and the people are still dwelling.
The second guy comes in and he's like, well, it could be an African swallow.
Right. And he's like, right, I get it. Let's move on. So some very good humor there.
Yeah. I have to say, listening to you guys talk about it, one of my favorite scenes in this movie was the holy hand grenade of Antioch.
1, 2, 5, 3, sir.
Oh, that was the other thing. Like, not he can't for whatever reason
can't say 3. I always have to say 5 in place of 3.
But what I thought was so clever about that, and it gets me every fucking time. Mm-hmm. Like the beginning, the scene that we did every fucking time.
Oh yeah,
I just internally, I think one of the Nick and I had just met like for a month or two, and we were standing in Stanival, and we went back and forth with that fucking scene.
Did you?
At one point? That gets me every time. And then the hand grenade with the priest coming down with the fucking incense,
and then
the Book of Armaments.
That was. And then fucking the bunny with the hand puppet was going.
Oh yeah,
like that to me was the part. Yeah, as a kid was like the idea of this white bunny, so much so, and like upon rewatching, how much blood they put on this white bunny. Like the thing that just said blood everywhere. It's just kind of doing normal bunny shit, kind of leaping over.
Right. Well, yeah. When he goes to the first guy, he's like, "Oh, go cut its head off," and look. And it just like decapitates the guy. It's like Jesus Christ.
They take the Lord. They say Jesus Christ so many fucking times in this movie.
I told you.
Which Nick, you didn't say anything about my shirt today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you showed the audience.
I'll try to do a close up while you keep talking.
But yeah, if we're
just a wee little bunny.
If we put Holy Grail against the other Monty Python bits, the amount of quotable shit, like associated with fucking adolescent potty humor, of course you're gonna pick that shit up. What Gen Xer that has had exposure to this doesn't have some Monty Python vernacular built into their shit, which is interesting. So I was thinking about this before we get to Life of Brian.
Sure, because I'm gonna suck Life of Brian's dick so hard when we get there.
I can tell. The Gen Xers, as we sit here and our changes in relative exposure to it, every time we say the word exposure, it makes me think that it has a negative connotation.
With a trench coat and
like that's what every time it's been said, like, and especially when we opened up with nipples and hot sauce.
That was all you, man.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not even drinking. Anyway, now it's as Gen Xers, these like things that are built into our vernaculars for movies that weren't necessarily intended for us. Like these are not Gen X movies. These are not for Gen Xers.
Yeah.
Like, and is it because we're all similar flavor, nerds and coming from similar backgrounds, but it can come from different parts. Like you're from California.
Yep.
Right. I'm an East Coast guy. Nick's an East Coast guy. Like our experiences though like with being nerds and kind of being having exposed to the same stuff, it kind of makes the same like it gives us these personality traits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I find it terribly interesting, especially like when we're talking about a generation.
I'm just reading the chat.
Okay. I'm like, somebody said something really funny over there.
Suck Brian's what? Anyway, that was the point I was going to make. Is when we were initially talking about this, I'm enamored with the stuff that kind of makes us the way we are.
Right.
You know, and this is one of those things where these movies were not meant for us. And
no, I mean, it was more meant for our parents, at least mine, because in 75, when the first movie came out, my mom was 14, 15, something like that.
My parents were in their 20s when I was born in 75. Then in 79, you know, I was 4 fucking years old when that movie came out.
Yeah, I was 3.
Nothing to do with me at all.
Yeah, so really it was more intended for our parents' generation, but I can tell you, I'd be willing to bet my mother and father have never seen either of these movies, or if they have, they're like, what the fuck is this?
You know, your mom watches the show, so I'm actually curious if she jumps in to say something if she has seen it.
I'd be curious, but I mean,
I don't think my parents, I mean, I've never heard either one of my parents talk about these movies.
Yeah. Or the TV show for that matter, you know, Flying Circus. Now, granted, that was a British thing, and I don't know back in the day how easy it was for Americans to watch British TV when there was no fucking internet or anything else.
I don't know. It seems like it was something that was available in like I feel like the British shit came on like PBS or something.
Right.
You know, it was like
right.
the afternoon shows in PBS.
Yeah. And, you know, Luna Girl saying her mom didn't care for it. She's in our same age bracket. So.
But then again, Nick knows my mom.
Right.
I do.
So, and I will concede this fact. Go into the two movies against each other. Obviously, Holy Grail is more well-known.
Right.
More quotable, more widely recognized by the general populace.
Right.
I completely concede that fact.
Well, Life of Brian does have some quotables as well.
Oh, it does. But I mean, as far as just like being more well-known and have more exposure, Holy Grail by far has that exposure. But if we can pivot a little bit into Life of Brian,
Pivot.
I mean, this movie is so fucking brilliant to me. The dialogue is so fucking smart. Every single scene, if you really listen to the dialogue, it's all fucking clever from start to finish in this fucking movie.
Biggest dickus?
Like
dickus? Okay, well,
I mean, like, all right. Talk about the quotable shit. Like a scene that was put in there, like it seemed like a completely throwaway scene, was funny.
Yeah,
for a moment. I think the funniest bits were like about, all right, go ahead. Yes, throw him to the ground again.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the funniest part of that whole scene is you can tell Michael Palin is on the verge of cracking up for real.
Especially when it's like right in his faces.
Yeah. You can tell he's on the verge of like laughing himself as he's doing that scene, which is fucking great. He has a wife, you know. You know what she's called? Incontinentia buttocks.
Anyway, you were talking about how smart the dialogue is.
Right. And I mean, it starts from the very fucking beginning when Brian's mom is sitting next to the baby and the 3 wise men come in. We're 3 wise men. What? We're 3 wise men.
It's 2 a.m.
Yeah. We were led by a star. Led by a butter won't like it, you know? So, and speaking of which, you know, while we're talking about it, Terry Jones did that woman voice. She did that one, did the woman in the scene that we did. Right. He actually died this year in January.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So only the second member of the Monty Python cast who's passed away. The first one being Graham Chapman, King Arthur. He died back in 89.
Yeah.
Of fucking throat cancer. But yeah, Terry Jones just died earlier this year. So again, fuck 2020.
Yeah, god damn it. And that to me, that guy, like that representation of like doing a voice, like doing it so outrageously that everyone buys it. Not a single,
great.
Not a single, even the look, like you see him in the movie, it looks like a fucking the ugliest woman you ever saw.
Right.
And talking like this, it's awful.
Well, the best too was way later in the movie, like after everybody thinks Brian's the Messiah, and he fucking bones that one girl from the Judean People's Front, or no, the People's Front of Judea. Sorry, and you know she gives that monologue completely fucking naked, And Brian's mom's like, who is that?
We should scroll back to where we're talking about the. I think that's when we're referring to the lawn mowing that needed to happen.
Oh yeah, that was. We've got Bush.
Yeah, it was the 70s.
So, all right, before I completely dominate the conversation with Life of Brian, do either of you have any thoughts, observations about Life of Brian, the movie as a whole?
So, like, the one thing that always stood out to me as just one of those like weird things, and it's not quite as weird as the Monty Python has a similar scene or a couple scenes, but Monty Python, you have that scene where the historian is talking about the Arthur getting taunted by the Frenchman, and all of a sudden that knight comes by and just kills him.
Yes.
Filming Life of Brian has that scene where all of a sudden he's in a fucking spaceship.
Yes.
Like, you went from Jesus times to he's flying around in a fucking space. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like,
obviously,
what happened here?
Yeah, this was like the dawn of cocaine, I think.
Right.
And they were just. Yeah, no, and honestly, the alien scene is my least favorite of the whole movie. Like
it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it's really silly, really.
That's a conversation piece, right? Because you insert this alien scene into a fucking movie about basically the guy who's not Jesus Christ,
right? Who keeps getting mistaken for the Messiah.
Right. Suddenly let's start some fucking aliens. To me, that's classic Monty Python shit. Like, from Flying Circus, like jumping from one genre into something completely, and now for something completely different. Like they might as well have come out and said it during the movie,
right?
Were you? I was about to. Yeah, for me, all right. Before Jason continues to suck this movie's dick, for me, it was a slower movie. I don't disagree with you that it's way more ethereal than Holy Grail.
Yeah,
there are funny parts, there are quotable parts, but to me, I had a tough time staying with it, man.
Really?
As I'm watching this, I was doing other shit. Like I said, I legit have ADHD, so if it's not fully engrossing me, then I'm going to be fucking moving on doing other stuff.
Right. And it's one of those ones that you cannot enjoy if you're doing other shit at the same time.
No.
Like you have to be paying attention to the dialogue and listening for the subtleties and everything else.
Yeah.
Because it's not in your face humor the way Holy Grail is.
Yeah, you have to be watching it. And I will say, I'm not going to say this is my least favorite thing that Monty Python has done, but it was definitely not my favorite thing. The quotables are funny. Like there is funny stuff that's in there. To me, though, is kind of the tail end of what Monty Python was doing well, based on what their body work with Flying Circus.
Yeah.
Again, remember, I'm coming from being engrossed in the Flying Circus stuff and then moving up towards this. So the part for me that I enjoyed for Life of Brian was the fact that they were busting on that whole fucking, all right, the Jesus and the crucifixion and everything else and how Pontius Pilate was and all that stuff. That to me, because I was a kid who went through fucking Sunday school every goddamn Sunday, had this shit beat into me, and to see it portrayed in such a way that actually fucking made it entertaining, that's the part that I liked.
Yeah.
That to me is why I would watch the movie again and even talk about it, is because of shit like that.
Yeah, the scene that Stonebleeds brings up there, the scene where he's doing the graffiti and the
Romanus Eodamus.
I'll do it 100 more times or I'll cut your balls off.
Yeah. It says Romans go home. No, it doesn't. What's Latin for Roman? Romani? Yeah, no, that whole scene, getting into Latin and everything. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Hilarious. If you understand what the fuck they're talking about. Again, if I showed that scene to my kids, they'd be like, I don't get it. Why is this funny? Why are you laughing right now, Dad? Because
just look at you weird and then fucking going along with their lives.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
But so there are some scenes, again, it's the subtle humor, but I think it's fucking great. You go to the very early on in the movie where they're watching Jesus give his little fucking speech on the hill. Right. You pan back to Brian and his mom. His mom's like, speak up. Quiet, Mom. Well, I can't hear a thing. And then you get with the couple there and the guy calling him Big Nose and everything. And there was this one point where a guy turns around. He's like, "What did he say?" He's like, "I think he said, 'Blessed are the cheesemakers.'" And the other wife's like, "What's so special about the cheesemakers?" He's like, "Well, it's not meant to be taken literally. It refers to any manufacturers of dairy products, you know."
That is a good line.
Which, I mean, to me, I think that's fucking hilarious. But most people probably wouldn't quite get it. But that's the thing that I love about this. I love that sort of dry, deeper humor, which to me, that's kind of like The Office. I compare it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where The Office, it's very, you got to kind of be paying attention. You got to be looking at like the facial.
Are we talking about the British version of The Office, or are we talking about the American version?
Probably more the British version, honestly.
Yeah, because it's the same type of humor, right?
Yeah.
I think somebody said in the chat earlier that like some things that you either have a childish sense of humor or be British to get it.
Yeah.
And Monty Python's one of those things.
And you talk about the men playing women, the stoning scene.
Yeah, where they're pretending to the men pretending to be women, pretending to be men.
Yes,
right?
which, oh my god, you've got like Inception going on there, which is fucking hilarious. Where it's like, are there any women here today? No. Again, all the male actors pretending to be women, trying to be men. It's fucking hilarious.
The scene where, oh god, I'm terrible with these guys' names. If there is name, it's not John Cleese. I don't remember who the actual person is, but when they're sitting there, and he's like, "Well, I want to have babies." Like,
oh, that's Eric Idle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Loretta.
Have a womb.
Well, because it's, they're going on, they're trying to make their little declaration and everything. It's the inalienable right of every man or woman, and it's, why are you always going on about women, Stan? I want to be one. What? I want to be a woman. Which nowadays that would have huge implications.
Right.
Like,
well, shit, we didn't even talk about that. Like, just this movie, probably less so than Holy Grail. How hard it shits on like some racial stuff, some fucking Judaism, fucking Christianity. Like, it takes pretty hard fucking stabs at all of them in general. And I wonder if you could even fucking put that anywhere near going out.
Well, I mean, fuck, they got a lot of shit back in the day from the hardcore Christian crowd.
See, now, I expand on this
because again, this was a time, well, fuck, this still happens today where word gets out about a movie, right? It's like, oh, they're making a movie about Jesus times and they're making fun of Jesus and all this other stuff. So they immediately get a lot of shit for it, where Jesus has that one scene where he's on the hill and he's giving the speech, and they took that word for word from the New Testament,
right? Like
that speech.
Yep. Yet
they got all kinds of shit from the hardcore Christian community back in 1979 about this. And there's a YouTube clip of Michael Palin and I think it was John Cleese, and they had this debate with some fucking Christian conservative fucking pastor because they got called out for all this shit, and they're like, dude, look. The only portrayal of Jesus in this entire movie was 100% accurate according to the New Testament. So fuck off.
Yeah.
The rest of it was all just good tongue-in-cheek humor.
Yeah. Dragon Buddy actually brought up that same interview.
Yeah.
Was talking about it. I had no idea. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Based on the content. And let's face it, the way that Brian was portrayed, it was the analog to Jesus Christ,
right? Because they were running parallel at that point. They were born at the same time. Later on,
are you Brian a virgin?
Well, yeah, and then Brian got mistaken for the Messiah, right? So where he's mistakenly found himself up on a pedestal. Do unto others as they would do unto you.
Anyway, I want to hear more of your.
Okay, because I
want to hear more of your dick sucking on the life of Brian.
Well,
I want the elevator pitch for this movie. I want you to sell me on it.
Well, I mean, I've already told you, like it's a much smarter movie,
right,
than Holy Grail.
Definitely.
You've got the Loretta. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta. We will fight for your right to have babies. All kinds of good shit like that. The Judean People's Front. Are you hold up, when Brian walks up to them when they're in the fucking stadium with the gladiator match, by the way, which, they had some fucking guy, they threw him out there, and then they had the big burly guy in the armor come out to fight him, and he just runs circles.
Yeah.
Which that part itself was fucking hilarious. And he's like, Brian comes up to the group, he's like, are you the Judean People's Front? And they're like, fuck off. Judean People's Front. We're the People's Front of Judea. And then they start going off, which I guess this was an analog to all of the parties, the political parties going on in Britain at the time. Apparently they've got like fucking a 10-party system, whereas we have a 2-party system here in the US. So that was kind of a knock on that.
I felt like too, it was almost like Airplane, where it was kind of poking fun at all the different types of sex you could run into.
Yeah.
At the same time, when Homeboy's walking through the airport, he gets in fucking fist fights with all Jehovah's Witnesses and shit. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh, I love that. You've got the scene where he gets thrown into the dungeon and you got the dude hanging there and he's like, "You lucky bastard."
Crucifixion.
Yeah. Crucifixion? Get away with crucifixion?
Could be worse.
How could it be worse? And then he's like, "You saw him spit in my face." "Oh, what I wouldn't give to be spat in the face." So I love that scene. Finally, when he gets stuck on that pedestal and he just starts blabbering bullshit, and all of a sudden people start gathering around and they're like, "Oh, tell us more, master." And he's running away. He leaves the fucking shoe and then the gourd. And they're chasing after him. He runs into the fucking desert, steps on the foot of the fucking silent old man. "I haven't said a word in 13 years. A miracle." The part that I laughed so hard at the first time I ever saw this movie was, only the true Messiah denies his divinity. He's like, "Oh, well, what does that get me? All right, I am the Messiah." Like, he is.
He is the Messiah.
No, fuck off.
All right, I am the Messiah. Fuck off.
Yeah, I love that scene. How should we fuck off, oh Lord?
That is one probably in the top 10 quotable things.
Yeah,
out of that movie for sure.
And then of course the next notes I have are the crucifixion scene. A lot happens in between then,
right?
But where he gets strung up and then everybody comes to not save him,
right?
And then you break into the song at the end. The "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life." I don't know, man.
It's a good, that song is probably if you took that by itself and just made one skit, that's probably the biggest takeaway to me from this movie. I know from my younger cousins, because like I said, we grew up in a nerd family, and my younger cousins, they gravitated more towards the end of this than the beginning, especially the hardcore Catholics. Right, they gravitated more to the "always look on the bright," that whole bit. Yes, it has a positive message or whatever, but it's the dichotomy of what's going on during that fucking situation.
Because they're all strung up, they're all fucking being crucified, and they're all just singing "Always look on the bright."
I always love that the scene where they're carrying the crosses up the hill, and they the one dude he's like has the other guy hold it, and then he ends up getting he's like,
"Let me help you with your burden," and the guy's like, "Okay," and he just throws the cross on him. "It's not my cross," and then they end up crucifying that guy. Yeah,
where did they film this? Do we know where they filmed it?
I don't know, but it's like we said earlier. It seemed authentic.
It's like, hey, here we are. We're British, right? So Britons in fucking the 70s and 80s didn't have the Cold War issues that the Americans were dealing with, right? So they could probably roll someplace, be like, "Hey, can we use your fucking these ruins in fucking Jordan or something like that?
Right?
Can we use that to make a movie?" Sure, whatever.
Yeah, because it all looked like traditional Middle Eastern, no fucking anything for miles except for some structures and no vegetation to speak of.
I feel like the British get away with shit like that, whereas Americans have a lot tougher time just because, it's the world.
Which, I mean, let's be honest, the fucking British were the worst colonizers in history.
How does that fucking work? They were so much worse, and yet is because they're overall pleasant character?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Or are they so no?
Well, they gave up most of their colonies, so
they had to after we kicked the shit out of them.
Well,
that's where it started. It started with fucking. Oh, I'm not wearing that shirt, but 1776 is kind of when the empire started to fall apart.
Indeed.
But they gave us these movies. The British did, or at least Monty Python did.
Right.
So you're done. You done sucking off Life of Brian?
I think so. I think I've made my point pretty clear.
Yeah. So I am obviously in favor of the Holy Grail. Experience as much as anything. And it even still 45 years later, it holds my attention. And I guess my potty humor, like my adolescent humor, it holds me and grips me and I'm saying a lot of words that like have these like exposing and gripping and holding.
That's what she said.
I don't know why my fucking brain's going there.
Well, you were talking about ED earlier in the show.
I know what the fuck, man. Something's up.
Yeah.
Or not.
We're not. Yeah. Beat me to it.
The self burn. There's a rare. Yeah, I'm a Holy Grail guy, and I yield to the fact that Life of Brian it has those characteristics that make it a little bit more adult and a little more advanced or whatever you wanted to call it, but yeah,
yes.
But I couldn't like at the same time if I watched Holy Grail then watched Life of Brian, maybe if I watched the order differently, maybe Life of Brian but after watching Holy Grail, then watching Life of Brian, it just didn't hold my attention like that.
Okay, and I get it basically, and knowing you the way I know you with the ADD and everything else, so
yeah, I need to grab.
All right, so for our guest, analysis of both. Do you have a preference for between the two? What you got for us?
There's definitely a preference, and I have to say it's not even close. It's Holy Grail. Like, valid points you have brought up, as Dave said, but just and again, like Dave said, maybe just my brand of humor. There's parts of Life of Brian that I like, but I find myself, as Dave was saying, like you're watching it and like my mind will start to drift off a little bit, and I have to like concentrate on watching it.
Oh yeah,
like I have to force myself to be in that moment. Whereas like Holy Grail,
Holy Grail is one of those movies too where you've seen it so many times, and like I have, like I'm saying all the words as they're happening. Yeah, that's what's annoying about sitting next to me watching this, and probably with anybody else. It's like, oh, I'm going to say all of the dialogue a half a second before it happens.
Yeah,
but like even just little things about that movie that like dialogue excluded, like one of my favorite scenes in that whole movie, and it's this stupid little 5-second piece where they're talking about going to Camelot, and then like the knights are all singing and everything, and they cut to that
Knights
scene.
Of the Round Table.
They cut to that scene of the dude in the dungeon strung up, and he's
like,
I don't know, like I just laughed my ass off about that. Like here's this dude strung up in the dungeon,
and you can hear
you
can hear it kind of in the background, right? The main music like it's kind of muted.
Yeah,
he's just
like it's playing in another room.
Yeah.
On second thought, let's not go to Camelot. It's a rather silly place.
And again, don't ever take this as me shitting on Holy Grail, because obviously I understand the brilliance of that movie, and again, it's the gateway drug into the rest of Monty Python for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? I think generationally too, it's a fair point, because if you expose your kids now to Holy Grail and then say, okay, hey, here's the skit with the fucking dead parakeet, and here's the fucking skit with the argument, and I personally, my personal favorite is the spam one,
right.
which is really obnoxious, especially when I'm doing all the lines by myself in the high school fucking squeaky voice. Really fucking obnoxious. I'm not going to do it for you guys, but it's one of those. For me, it wasn't the gateway, but it was definitely something that you appreciate more. Like, oh, these guys are fucking funny because I saw Holy Grail. Now I'll get to see some other stuff, some of the shorter skit stuff, and it's all funny.
So, Scott, Jamie, Rasmussen,
yes,
pulling up.
Life of Brian was shot on location in Monastir, Tunisia.
Same place New Hope was filmed.
Yep.
Tunisia,
and which they allowed the production to reuse sets from Franco Zeffirelli's Jesus of Nazareth from 1977.
Perfect. So
thank you, Scott.
The
AKA
exact
Jamie.
reason why it seems authentic as you're watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's all filmed on location. And again, just fucking desert and structures.
Yep. There it is.
That's pretty much the Middle East in a nutshell.
And you want to do King Arthur and Camelot? Fucking go to Scotland, where there's a bunch of use a bunch of castles.
Yeah, there's a bunch of vegetation. You can actually see some green.
Yeah,
castles, and then the desert with sand,
Utter-
and castles.
Utter darkness.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do it. I think Jason, my wife is egging me on to actually do the spam thing.
Do it.
Baked beans are off. Can I have spam instead of the baked beans then? You mean spam, 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 and spam? And then the music plays. It's the spam. Whatever. I could do almost the entirety of those fucking albums, and that's the kind of shit like when you get advanced dementia or some shit like that. That's the shit that's gonna pour out of my body.
Right.
Like it's not gonna be anything smart or remembering my fucking kids or anything like that. It's gonna be spam, 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 spam. Like, all right, hit him with some fucking meds again. Put him back to sleep.
And you're gonna have some like young nurse taking care of you that has no idea.
No
what
fucking
you're talking
clue.
about.
It's just weird. It almost sounds British, doesn't it? It's fucking strange.
Why is this guy saying this?
Anyway, I think we've made our points.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 against 1.
That's right.
I really have no legs to stand on.
Holy Grail wins. But as kind of reiterate the whole Gen Xer thing. It's 2 movies that were not meant for Gen Xers that we kind of took hold of.
But yeah, we really gravitated towards
that we took this and fucking. I mean, how often did you ever hear your parents fucking quote movies?
Never.
Like that.
Never.
Like, I've heard my parents quote skits from certain Monty Python things. Like I've heard it very rarely. And it may be because the kids are in the room or whatever, but not like we do with this.
Yeah,
like,
no, I guarantee neither of my parents have ever quoted Monty Python in their lives.
No, my dad will do like Star Wars, like I am your father kind of stuff.
Like, right.
Because he's into Star Wars too. You know, I love Star Wars, but like that's like the extent of my dad's like movie quotes.
Yeah.
You know?
I was hoping my cousin would pop in. That's out in Alaska. Because he could probably push into some fucking stories about Monty Python shit when we were growing up.
Well, and it's one of those things where I almost feel like it was kind of co-opted by our generation, where the generation before us, like our parents, didn't quite appreciate it as much as we did.
Right?
So
we had the advantage of it, like coming on television, like because Holy Grail had come on television. It was like one of the CBS late movies that had come on, so you had an opportunity to see it. Probably with edited for commercials and shit like that, but you're getting the fucking high notes for some of the quotable stuff. And just availability of and VHS tapes.
Yeah, like we adopted that. It's like oh, you were loved. Here, come. We'll take care of you.
We will take care of you, and we will make sure. I mean, obviously, Monty Python was wildly popular.
Yeah.
So it's not like just us making it popular. They already had popularity outside of Britain.
Like, did they though? Like, I have no visibility on that. I guess that's something I'd have to go to Wikipedia or YouTube to kind of really find out, because again, like I said, I'd never even heard of this shit until I had gotten to freshman year of high school, and my fucking English teacher threw in the VHS. I was like, here, watch this while I go fuck off somewhere.
That is interesting. There's probably a deep dive into there that Jamie's probably bringing up as we speak.
Yeah. Jamie, look that up.
This was done in camera using a hand-built model starship and miniature pyrotechnics.
What is he talking about?
What is he talking about? Maybe are you watching the same part? Okay.
Which Terry Gilliam, by the way, ended up branching off and directing a whole bunch of fucking wacky films. He made the movie Time Bandits. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Bandits, yeah.
Dude, that was a fucking fucked up movie. He directed all kinds of crazy shit. He directed 12 Monkeys.
Really?
Yeah, with Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis.
That is a movie that I did not sit all the way through.
Oh.
I'm kind of I'm a pussy.
Spaceship scene from Life of Brian.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jamie. You need to tell us what you're telling us first.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't ask you for it, and then suddenly we see it.
That Air Force thing, tell them what you're going to tell them.
Right.
Tell them, and then tell them what you told them.
Exactly. What do you think? Should we tell them about our social media?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know, unless you have some other dick sucking.
I mean, I feel like I've made my case.
Yes.
We'll leave it to the audience at this point to make their own decision.
2 against 1. We win.
But you can watch them both on Netflix.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you should. If you haven't, if you are of the Gen X population or maybe a little bit younger than that, you want to laugh Just sit down and watch it.
Both good.
Both
no doubt. It's both good.
Sit down and watch it. Look for the nuances that make it funny.
Mhm.
You know, for Life of Brian and for Holy Grail.
But if you look for the nuances, you'll clearly see that Life of Brian is the superior movie. But I digress.
according to Jason Roscom,
Yes.
the views of Jason Roscom are not necessarily the views of Big Swede or Philly Dave.
Yeah.
So anyway, speaking of
Social media.
hey, why don't you pimp some of your shit?
Yes.
Well, we're
Check
sitting here,
your
so we don't
fucking
have
12
to.
YouTube channels.
No,
Yeah.
really? Okay, so it's only 3. As you know, not like everyone will have you believe that I have like 42 YouTube channels.
Haldo Swede.
But
That number increases every
Yes,
time we talk
yeah,
about it too.
it all started. Actually, it's 5 years ago that I started. It was actually 5 years ago this month. I think it was on the 15th. Was when I started my original Tactical Swede YouTube channel. So
Nice.
Guns, outdoors, that kind of jazz. If that's your flavor,
Yeah.
go over to YouTube, search up Tactical Swede. You'll find me there. Then we created the B channel, Big Swede's Excellent Adventure, and that was kind of my overflow for anything that didn't quite fit in with the tactical side of things.
Started out as snowboard. He was going to have snowboarding shit. And then it never snowed.
I think I had like 2 snowboarding videos I did. And then like the computer, the Sith Lord PC build I did. I did
very
a
nice.
thing on that. And then it's kind of morphed into a lot of different things. That's where I'm doing my my air quotes weekly live stream that somebody talked me into doing.
Yeah, like really, we got pressured into doing this extra stuff by Luna Girls. So
yeah, exactly. We're here to entertain Luna
The
Girl.
chat
That's
feed.
what
pretty
it
much,
is out
pretty much.
And then the third and final YouTube channel is Swede Studios, and that's more music related. You know, doing collaborations with other artists around the world, doing cover songs and whatnot, and anything
Nice.
guitar music related. We're doing on there.
All right, so I want to book a spot like 2 years from now when I'm actually proficient in playing both the guitar and the piano.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and watch because I'm not proficient in either things and will not be because I'm not musically talented. Unless you want me to sing something, I'll sing in a
Ooh.
weird voice, though.
That's
Can't be
fine.
my normal voice. It has to be a character voice.
You got to sing in the old lady from Monty Python.
That would be fucking hilarious. I did a whole entire karaoke session with that. See. Like an entire karaoke session like that. That's it? Just 3 channels?
Well, yeah, and then you got the Instagram accounts associated with them.
There you go.
I think it's at Tactical Swede, at Big Swede's Excellent Adventure, at Swede.
It's like big _ Swedes
I
_
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't ever look at it.
Yeah, search that shit out. Because let's face it, Instagram is where it's at for
Pull that shit up, Jamie.
for ease of doing shit and getting shit out there. Instagram is definitely the way to go.
Oh yeah, for
You know,
sure.
For us old people, Facebook obviously, but
Honestly,
Yeah.
like the majority of my stuff nowadays is on Big Swede's Excellent Adventures. I haven't done a Tactical Swede video in like it's been like 6 months,
Oof.
and it's probably been about 3 or 4 months since I've did any music stuff, just because pandemic stuff. People I was working with had trouble because like the studio they were recording in. Not everybody has a studio in their basement, like the
Right.
setup I've got.
or attached to their house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So like some guys were actually going to the studio to record stuff, and then pandemics and blah blah blah. So that kind of got put on hold. But I do have a couple ideas for songs that I want to get going. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
All right.
Luna Girl says she feels very special that we're here to entertain her.
She is special.
Yes, she is. Thank you, Luna Girl.
Might be some Seven Dust love here in the future.
What?
On Swede Studios.
The fucking new album came out.
Yes, it did.
I haven't listened to any of it yet.
I've only heard the one song so far. The one they released. I think it's called "Blood from a Stone."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were playing on Octane.
Good tune.
Anyway.
So
What
I guess
else?
That's that.
No, we had Big Swede pimped his shit. Watch our buddies over at the ATSW Escape Pod.
Yep.
They are podcasters. They are YouTubers. They are people who like to give away shit.
Yeah. Apparently, they're a lot more engaged than we are right now.
Yeah. Well,
They're everywhere. They're actually posting on their social media.
hey,
They're actually posting regular episodes of their podcast.
yeah. Also, yes.
So I mean,
I've been trying. Like, so I've actually Dave has never contributed more to this fucking podcast than I did this week. Besides notes and Instagram posts and everything else, I'm trying. I'm trying. But yeah, for our social media. No, wait. We got Scott Rasmussen who's in the chat. The
Yep.
Used and Abused podcast
Yep,
is back.
Their relaunch finally happened.
So follow those guys at Used and Abused and all their social media stuff.
Yes.
That's the beauty. Like, we have a great social media handle, right? At Gen X POV.
Yes.
Right. Perfect. It's short. It's sweet. Awesome. But the way searches are anymore, like when you put in From a Gen X Point of View podcast into YouTube, which you should do, and then hit the subscribe button, which you should also do, and tell your friends to do. That way we
or
can
your fake accounts,
or all of your fake accounts, or all the bots. Hire the Russians. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just get us to a fucking 100 so we can have our
we're
own URL.
like Trump. We don't give a shit. We'll take
Okay.
anybody's help.
I don't give a
Just
fuck
get us
where it comes from. Get us to 100 subscribers, so that we can have a URL for that. But like our friends in the Used and Abused podcast, Keith Lehman, who's on Facebook, like he's doing his show exclusively on Facebook Live. His stuff, his dry stuff is just so fucking funny. It's great. Who am I forgetting? It's out. Where's our content creators that are?
I think that's everybody.
I
think you finished.
I think you touched base on everybody.
Yeah.
It is the inalienable right of every man or woman
Or
woman. Where was I? I think you finished.
Yeah, for us at Gen X POV, follow us, like us, share us, subscribe, hit the like buttons, do all the fucking good things. And
Kathleen Martin wants to know what we would do to get 100. Dave will suck your dick for a subscription. He will suck as many dicks as it takes to get to 100.
Whole bag of them.
a
Yes.
satchel
All
of
of them.
Richards.
Yes.
I don't know who this Dave person
He'll
is.
even tickle your balls
I
while he's doing it.
No idea who this
So-
Dave person is. So I
Figure
Yeah,
it
maybe.
I had
That is what Dave will do for
Yeah.
100 subscriptions.
Handies for subs.
Listen. We can't rule anything out. Anyway, whatever. Get us to a fucking 100.
Yeah.
Come on, baby.
Arm wrestling rematch. What?
Oh, right.
They were supposed to be twice already. What's that? I don't know what they're talking about. Do you know what they're talking about? Arm wrestling.
Well,
It sounds like it's something a couple drunk idiots would do.
I know.
Thank goodness.
Like if-
subscribed.
Yeah. Like if anybody did like 150 episodes of a podcast, but they didn't
Yeah.
do the second half of the 150.
Well, lies, because we definitely did it, and we have the historical documents that prove it.
Indeed, we do.
So
Pretty sure it's on YouTube.
it is.
that's what we're referring to. And that was the joke with the historical documents. Okay.
So I fucking Luna.
Woo!
Like apparently she's on this because I guess we declared that we would do a rematch on August 18th and September 18th. I have no memory of this.
Why the 18th? What an arbitrary date.
Did we do 150 on July 18th and say that we do a rematch every month?
I don't know.
I was so drunk that night.
Oh my god. You
Well, yeah, you were on another plane of existence
Yeah,
that
that
fucking
was-
night.
like there was drunk, and then there was what Dave did that night. Let's see. Now that this isn't Star Wars related, Scott Rasmussen says the wives needed to be on an episode.
That's fine.
I think this is a perfect time to go ahead and cut the stream right now. Cut it. We're done. Say the words. We're done.
What words?
The words that you finish with.
Okay, like we're just abruptly ending the episode. now.
Obviously, do we really want to go down this hole?
All right. Well, I do want to say a huge thanks to Big Swede,
Yes.
Tactical Swede, Nick, whatever you want to call him, for coming on today. We know you had to make a bit of a trek to get out here,
I
so
had to cross into Jersey.
yeah, you.
And speaking of, I can neither confirm nor deny that I might have, but possibly didn't, but definitely did become a felon when I came over the border.
Oh,
Just like that.
oh, that's funny.
Do I even want to know? Did you run over somebody?
No. I know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I know what he's talking about.
All right.
We don't need to be that. We don't need to do that live on the air.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I
yeah.
already understand.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, fair enough.
Jersey.
Well, we
fucking
will-
old Nick memory. That's what it is. Like,
We
I'm
will-
going to New Jersey. Do, 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 do.
we'll just leave it at that.
No need to elaborate.
So,
Right.
but again, thank you for coming on.
Yep.
You are always welcome on. Next time we can maybe try to accommodate and do some sort of a remote thing to do.
Yeah.
But Kristen wanted to make food for us and everything else.
Yes,
so.
and it was
Food-
fantastic.
food's
Thank you,
always good.
Kristen.
Yes.
So,
El Yucateco.
the Yucateco, check them out. No idea what we're doing next week, so we'll fucking YOLO it like we always do.
Word.
And remember, everything we told you today was true from a Gen X point of view.
Okay, now what do I click?
Oh, Jesus.
I gotta pee.
Yeah, me too. Oh, man. He
nice.
jumped again.
I need to PM Lunar Girl.
PM?
Yeah, sure.
Is that different from DM?
I think it's the same.
Okay. Episode 10.
Shh, Scott. Shh. We won't talk about that.
What is he saying? Great show. Not allowed to bring. Oh, yeah.
Shh.
Ixnay on the Unsgay. Thank you, Dragon Buddy. Appreciate it, sir.
Message retracted.
Redacted. Oh, shit. So, yeah, I don't know what it is, man, but I think going to your house, a few weeks ago really kind of got me thinking about the guitar. I've always wanted to play the guitar anyway. I've always loved music. I've always wanted to play, but I never had the motivation to actually try to learn. But then, I started doing the piano even before we came out to your house. And then watching you play the guitar, I'm like, fuck, I should do that too. So
see, and here's the thing about guitar is they're like the learning curve at first is a little steep, but all of a sudden, like you'll hit this point where like something clicks in your brain.
Well, that happened with me with the piano recently.
So here's the thing with guitar is like once you learn a few basic chord shapes, specifically bar chords or power chords, you can play damn near any song you want. Just strumming those chords, moving it up and down the neck.
Funny you say that because I went through a lesson because I've got this app that's teaching me the piano on my thing, and it taught me 4 chords, right? And at the end of the lesson, it's like, now you can basically play most major popular songs just knowing these 4 chords. And it ran me through a collage of a whole bunch of current and past like popular songs just using those fucking chords. I'm like, wow, that's
I used to have this poster on my wall of different chords, different chord shapes for guitar. And there's like 50 of them. And it's like, they're all variations of the same, basic root notes. Like you have a basic C, then you got C minor, C, this, add, like you got all these weird, different variations of an A chord or a C chord. But really all you need to know is those basic chord shapes. Yeah. And you can play damn near every song. Now, yes, obviously once you start getting into melodies and guitar solos and stuff like that, it takes a little bit more practice, but like once you get the basic bar chord or power chord shape down to where you train your fingers to do it, all you gotta do is just move that up and down the neck on the first 2 sets of strings, and you can play any song in existence just strumming that stuff.
Nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to trying to like dabble with the guitar also.
Neat.
It is neat.
Yeah, honestly, I've tried several different times to get into playing something, and I just, for whatever reason, it's not one of my abilities.
It takes dedication. It's one of those things where you have to put in the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing with the piano. I've been putting in multiple hours every single day for a couple of months now. And obviously I've still got a long way to go. I'm no fucking expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like I'm making progress and I'm getting it. So I'm having fun with it too.
So if you had your druthers, right? Say you pick up a guitar and you fucking just absolutely fall in love with it. What would you rather put your time into?
I'd probably still rather do piano.
Really?
Yeah, I really love the piano. Like as an instrument, the versatility and everything you can do with it.
It's an amazing instrument. It really is.
Yeah.
You can't. The musical interlude of the Gen X POV podcast, but it's one of those things where
music was a big part of our lives.
Yeah, I had such an appreciation, and I think you saw me fucking at full froth when we were sitting and they had the John Williams thing that we went to the Philadelphia Orchestra for. Orchestral music gives me a raging hard on. It just does, and it doesn't have to be just John Williams. I mean, just the elegance of the strings, the piano sounds. Like Gershwin is one of my all-time favorites, and the way he integrates piano into the rest of your orchestral pieces is fucking phenomenal.
Thing I find fascinating about like orchestra is just the layers. You have this overall sound, but then if you like sit there and really listen to the different parts that are being played, and like you might have a certain instrument or set of instruments that's playing something that if you listen to it by yourself sounds nothing like the song.
Right. Yep.
But when it all comes together, it's fascinating, man.
I'm about to burst. I gotta. You guys can keep talking, but I gotta.
Yeah, I find that fascinating to where someone can have that brain that can think of these different layers and put it all together into this final product.
Yeah, it's that for what I lack in musical ability, I'd like to think that I have an appreciation for at least like classic sound. I am like you and Jason both have a lot more I don't know, regard for like artists and shit like that, like be able to identify like, okay, this person does this person and that. Like Jason, it has this huge, I'm going to say this while he's not in the room, but he has this huge fucking repository of information about like artists and songs and all that other shit. For me, I don't really care. I don't really give a fuck who plays the music that I like. Yeah. I just like the music. Yeah. And however it comes out. So if I have to know the name of the thing so that I can find it so I can download it, then so be it.
And like, I'm like when it comes to music, I'm not I gravitate more towards rock and metal, but like I appreciate any kind of like good music. I stress the good part because there's a lot of music out there, especially today, that is not good music, and I do not appreciate it. But dude, like any kind of like really good guitar oriented, like I love like jazz and blues and classical guitar, like all that kinds of shit, man. If it's good content, I'm all about it. So like, yeah, I gravitate more towards the harder stuff, but
yeah,
that's what she said.
Well timed.
I kind of want to do the Monty Python scene one more time.
Do you really?
Yeah.
We can.
Since we're all here. We can switch up the roles.
See if I can not stumble on something this time.
All right. Well,
you want to be Arthur this time?
I guess I could do Arthur.
How about I be the old lady?
You want to be the woman?
Yeah, I'll be the woman.
I'll be Dennis.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on a sec. Bonus content.
Just for the YouTube audience.
Hang on. All right. It's a different.
You gotta get yourself into a different mindset.
Yeah. You're Arthur this time.
Yep. Oh, here, hang on. Wait.
Right. I have one.
Oh, yeah. Here. We've got each other's scripts.
Let's switch this shit up here.
We're on the last beer.
There we go. No, this is Dennis. Oh, I am Dennis.
No, you were called Dennis.
Apparently, neither did I.
Oh man.
All right. This.
Old woman.
Man. Oh wait, sorry. Damn it. All right. Ready and action.
Old woman.
Man.
Sorry. What knight lives in that castle over there?
I'm 37.
What?
I'm 37. I'm not old.
Well, I can't just call you man.
Well, you could say Dennis.
I didn't know you were called Dennis.
Well, you didn't bother to find out, did you?
I did say sorry about the old woman, but from behind you looked...
What I object to is you automatically treated me like an inferior.
Well, I am king.
Oh, king, eh? Very nice. How'd you get that, eh? By exploiting the workers, by hanging on to outdated imperialist dogma, which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society. If there's ever going to be any progress with the... Dennis! There's lovely fifth down here. Ooh, how do you do?
How do you do, good lady? I am Arthur, king of the Britons.
King of the who?
The Britons.
Who are the Britons?
Oh, you got them all messed up. We all are. We're all Britons, and I am your king.
I didn't know we had a king. I thought we were an autonomous collective.
You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship, a self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes...
Oh, there you go, bringing our class into it again.
Well, that's what it's all about. If only people would hear of...
Please, good people. I am in haste. Who lives in that castle?
No one lives there.
Then who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What?
I told you, we are an anarcho-syndicist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week.
Yes.
But all decisions of that officer are to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting.
Yes, I see.
By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs.
Be quiet.
But by a 2/3 majority in the case of a more major...
Be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
Order? Who does he think he is, huh?
I am your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
Well, how do you become king then?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate for the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony.
Be quiet.
Well, you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tot threw a sword at you.
Shut up.
I mean, if I went around saying that I was an emperor just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away.
Shut up. Will you shut up?
Now we see violence inherent in the system.
Shut up.
Oh, come and see the violence inherent in the system. Help. I'm being repressed.
Bloody peasant.
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Eh? That's what I'm on about. You see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you? End scene.
Oh, it's good shit, man.
It's fun.
We might have to do this every episode now. Like, find a new scene from a movie because
I don't mind doing it. I'm sure we should open it up for the studio audience to fucking decide.
There you go.
Pick something for us to do.
Give us a Gen X movie scene, and we will reenact it here on the show.
Moistened bint.
Moistened bint. Help! I'm being repressed. Dave should be doing audiobooks. It's exhausting. Changing your voice like that. A lot of credit to those guys. I'm reading. I put in the notes to talk about the Thrawn thing, right? Have you gotten into Thrawn at all?
I haven't listened to a single bit since the last time we talked about it.
So
I started listening to about 15 minutes of it, and then I got sidetracked and haven't gotten back to it.
Pretty much same boat.
Yeah. If you get a chance to finish it, it's actually quite good. But I think I talked about it on the show before. It's a science fiction type thing about this guy named Bob who got hit by was a software engineer, got fucking hit by a bus after he fucking sold his brain to get frozen or whatever, and he gets basically reanimated and is put into a fucking robot, or not a robots, but a sentient fucking spacecraft and blah blah blah. Anyway, book 4 came out, and I'm like super into this series, so fucking complete nerdgasm.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who does the read does all the voices, and it's every one of them is unique enough to be believable.
Really?
And you figure he's doing this Bob, right? If you can imagine a sentient computer that can regenerate itself. So they're into like 20 generations of the same guy. And each one of those iterations has its own like personality and its own voice. So as he's doing all these different characters, he's doing a different voice for each one of these. And it's fucking amazing. And there's a couple of females in there that are, it's a guy doing a female voice, but it's a different enough character where you stay in it the entire time. I believe his name is Ray Porter. Excellent work.
Like, how would you compare him to a guy like Mark Thompson, who does a majority of the Star Wars audiobooks? So
I think Mark Thompson, for what he's reading, is the right guy for it. I think I'm pretty sure it's Ray Porter. I'd feel bad if I said it wrong. He's good at this thing. Case in point, there's another audio series that Helmet Fire Vickers got me into, and he tried to get me into it. It's about tier 1 and a bunch of shit, right? Like the military stuff that like know way too much about to fucking to suspend my disbelief for the story. Every time they said the word skiff, it was SCIF. Like, stop it, please. It's 1 minute of research anyway.
SCIF.
But he does the voices on that. Great voice work, but I only hear him as that guy. I only hear him as Bob. And it's just Bob in a different scenario. So for whatever reason, his voice has been implanted on his voice has been impregnated into that particular character. And when he does other voices, I'm not as believable. Mark Thompson is doing Star Wars, so it's consistently Star Wars, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I want to put one better than the other. I think that they're both very good. But in this particular instance, when you got a guy who's playing all of these different parts that are the genesis of the same person, it's actually really, really interesting.
Who's your favorite Star Wars narrator?
I mean, Mark Thompson's the only one I know of.
Really? Yeah.
There's been others.
Yeah, there's been a few others. There's some that I didn't like, but like Mark Thompson and Jonathan Davis are my top two.
What did
Jonathan Davis did all the Bane books.
See, I read the books. I didn't listen to the audiobooks for those. So
yeah, he did a really good job. I think he's done a couple others as well, but I know he did all the Bane books.
I hate to say it, for Alphabet Squadron, it's a female narrator, and her narration is not. It's not that it's bad, but they add this all right, they're in spaceships all the time, right? And so
they did that in the Thrawn book,
and
there's a scene early on in the Thrawn book where Thrawn and some other guy are in like fucking spacesuits, and they're going in to investigate that fucking shot up ship. And they're talking through, you can hear them through like the muffled sound of like fucking space helmets. And it sounds like shit. You can't even tell what the fuck they're saying. It's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. They for one, it's like an alien character that they're modulating the voice because they're talking over intercom.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a level of realism that you don't need to have when you're fucking listening to a book being read.
Right.
And that's one of them. And that's what kind of, honestly, that's what put me off about the Alphabet Squadron stuff.
Yeah. And like, just the way her male characters, and like, speaking of Monty Python, like it's such it's such a female doing a male voice kind of thing that
I'm making my voice deeper.
Yeah.
Well, who
threw that? She did. Who did?
Who threw that? I'm definitely not a girl. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It just threw me off that.
Yeah, and like I said, it has nothing to do with the fact that it's a female narrating, especially I think what the Star Wars, whoever puts those books together, like for Del Rey or whoever does it, I think they do it appropriately where the narration would be coming from a female point of view.
Sure.
And so they use a female character.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
What annoys me is when they fucking decide they're going to do this little extra technology bit. And it started with like the Thrawn book where you said, oh, you really like hearing the kind of spaceships and you hear the music and stuff.
Yeah.
The musical interlude is fine, but that's what I needed. That's for me. It just, okay. Like I think we've talked about it at length about, for me in particular, I like reading the book because I develop my own scene. Because I'm very visual with stuff like that. And having somebody tell me like they're in their voice and that's not my voice, it kind of throws me off a little bit. But that Bob series was one where it was developed for audio only.
Yeah.
Like they printed it after the fact, but there was an Audible book straight away. So it was one of those things where like, yeah, this was meant to be said out loud. So it's just fascinating.
All right. Before we close this out, so I'm sure you guys want to get home, I just want to ask you both, talking about Star Wars and everything else, I've been thinking about some of the stuff that they're working on. Like they're about to release the High Republic stuff. I kind of don't care, and I'm curious how you guys feel about upcoming Star Wars canon. Like, I don't know if it's just because we ended or we suspended the All Things Star Wars podcast, but when it comes to things, not Mandalorian, like I'm still like full erect for Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But, things like the High Republic series, even the movie that's allegedly coming out in 2022.
If it's not Old Republic / Revan, I'm gonna be very disappointed. Like,
yeah,
that's basically where I'm at. That's like Bane, Revan, those kind of characters. That's what I want to see. Like thousands of years before.
Yes.
the Republic.
Yeah, the Taika Waititi
Yeah.
movie that's allegedly in production and all that. Like, if it's not the Old Republic, then I don't know how much I care right now.
So,
quite frankly,
especially with the release for the High Republic ended up being in books. And I know when they first made this announcement,
books and comics.
Yeah, we first talked about the announcement. It was like, okay, this is an interesting way to bring out this particular genre, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna introduce it in books, and it's gonna have a very specified audience because it's going to be the Star Wars novelization reader, as opposed to the casuals.
Yeah,
Like the casuals aren't going to be into this. Like maybe because there's going to be a bunch of like female Jedi and maybe some kid interactions, stuff like that. Maybe that's how they marketed it a little
like
bit.
the movie Cuties, like that kind of kid interaction.
I don't even know what that is, but no, I'm saying like,
are you a Democrat?
No.
What's going on? Okay, just making sure.
What's that have to do with touching kids? Really?
You really want to know?
Apparently not. I live in my own little world.
Yeah, well, enjoy it.
Yeah,
because it's pretty rough out here.
Yeah, fuck that. I just as soon stay inside. But no, I'm not as excited either.
Yeah.
Like this isn't like I feel like we need to be talking about this. It really it's a blip on the radar that it's a book. I'd hate to miss out on, like, if this book is good, not catching it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, because I missed the boat on the other novelizations.
Mm.
Like, you managed to pick up the book series like right from the jump, and we're able to read through it.
We're talking going back to like the Thrawn trilogy, the Jedi Academy,
and coming up through the New Jedi Order and all that stuff. Like, yeah. I came to that way too late. I'd hate to miss the opportunity to have good Star Wars content just because I'm not interested right this moment.
Mm.
I'll pre-order the book. I'll read it. I'll let everyone else know.
Yeah.
What I think of it as far as like character development, something like that. I think it's easy right now. It's probably easy to keep expectations low because we already know they're not talking about the things we want to talk about.
Right.
So it's not moving the needle at all, which might be a good thing. Maybe that's the clean slate that this needs. Personally, I think they should have went further back.
Yeah.
That's if you want to start a clean slate, you can go all the way back in the timeline.
Mm.
Prequels. But
I don't know, like I just look at you look at polls like Star Wars, real Star Wars fans, and ask them what they want like a movie or something to be about. And like it just brings me back to this George Carlin quote where he's talking about like living in a democracy, and he's like, even in a fake democracy, the people should get what they want some of the time,
right?
And it's like this is like everybody's screaming for this is what we want.
Yeah,
give us this, and Disney's just like, fuck you, we're not going to give you what you want.
But they have to have some idea of it because the Old Republic game is still running.
Yeah,
they're still developing content for it.
Like, you can create a Sith character right now and go through the fucking ruins of Korriban and everything else. And
you got all this like Keanu Reeves is Revan. Like, I would be all about it, dude.
People would lose their fucking minds if that happened.
They would.
Oh,
they would, which is why it will never happen.
Right, exactly.
It's because Disney doesn't do the things we want them to.
Right, no, they want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And their own thing, quite frankly, is falling flat in a lot of aspects,
except for the Mandalorian.
Well,
I think it really what it depends on. It depends on who you put in front of it.
Right.
Like if you have the right person leading the charge on that, then you can make it work.
Yes. Which, they put the right guy in charge of that. But, you look at Lucasfilm as a whole, and the person that's in charge just has no good overall vision.
Yeah. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Filoni Favreau 2020.
Yeah, no,
that'd be great.
Yeah. Hey, look, if what we have in the next 10 years is the Mandalorian, then at least we have the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
because there was a time when we didn't have anything.
Somebody doesn't screw it up,
right? And yeah, that's the problem now. The first season of Mandalorian was so successful and so universally loved. It feels like it's only got downhill to go from here.
Well, and then you got like Lucasfilm trying to like stick their hands in it and get into the mix a little bit. Well, we want to see more of this, or we want to see more of this. And I just pray that Favreau sticks to his guns and is like, no, this is where we're taking this,
Mhm.
and that's the end of it.
That's a great segue. What do you think about these rumors that mainly I hear about through you, with Pascal walking
So,
off the fucking
and-
set?
And
I've seen those stories
and
too.
I've heard more of it now, from other sources than we've got this covered and all that normal bullshit. But the running story now is that Pedro Pascal is only doing the voice work.
Which, I mean, like, to be fair, that's all he has to do.
Yeah.
BFD, like we don't
Yeah.
see you anyway, dude. So
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. Here's a little bit of money.
In reality, even if he left, how hard would it be to get somebody that sounds kind of like him?
I mean, you give me enough time, I could sound like that.
Right.
Yeah,
And especially since he's going through
He's
that,
got that kind of modulated voice anyway.
Mhm.
yeah.
Through the mask.
But I mean, I like the actor. Like, I like Pedro Pascal. I liked his role in Game of Thrones. I really liked his character in Game of Thrones. I liked what he did in season 1 of The Mandalorian. I'd hate to see him go.
Yeah, I mean, you're both at the side of the table. Like his base of work for me is only with the Mandalorian. So, but knowing that.
I can't even listen to you both
Not
right
a
now.
single
Like,
episode.
you know what? You both can just go suck a dick.
You've had
suck a dick.
how
suck a
many of
dick,
these?
suck
How
a
many of these?
motherfucking dick, suck a dick.
So you're the guy that was like super into Lost. How'd
Mhm.
that end out for you?
Not great.
And you're super into Game of Thrones. How'd that end?
I enjoyed the last season of Game
Did you?
of Thrones.
A
All
lot
the
of-
fucking haters out there can again suck a dick, suck a dick, suck a motherfucking dick, suck a dick, suck a dick.
I just
suck
wonder-
a big or small dick.
If this character says, "Okay, I want more FaceTime with this character,"
Mm.
is that in is his personality? Like, is that him as an actor? Does that check?
Mm.
I mean, who knows?
He doesn't seem like that type of a prima donna type actor, but I mean, I don't know.
I mean, like it seems crazy to me that like you signed on to this role knowing what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like this dude doesn't take his mask off.
The
Like,
entire fucking Mandalorian culture is developed around the fucking, and his face is a letter T.
Yeah.
You literally like I went back and I rewatched Mandalorian again recently, and even in that scene where like he goes down when he gets the first episode,
The Beskar and
not even before the Beskar, when he gets paid for the first guy he goes and gets.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes down there. You see the little kids running around in there, and they're wearing the helmets as little kids.
Yep. And quite frankly, I mean, The Mandalorian was the best thing to happen to Star Wars since The Force Awakens. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So this thing was huge. And why, as an actor, would you want to take yourself away from that big of a thing?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Some actors are just artists, and they care more about the art than the fucking exposure and the money and everything else. But
Or
fuck, I want
it's
that
just
Star Wars money.
or he wants to like, hey, I want more people to see that this is me and playing this role so that I can get more work. I mean, that let's face it, if you're an actor, you're trying to get more acting work, right? Because that's your
Yeah.
livelihood. So it may have something to do with that.
And if nobody ever sees your face, then are you really there?
But again,
I
that's
mean,
the
those
sacrifice.
paychecks are really there.
Yeah.
So
He's got to be making a fair amount. And
fuck yeah.
if he's staying and doing the voice work, there's a lot of Star Wars related people that are famous for just doing their voice work.
So sidebar, kind of still on the top.
How do we not have a sidebar the entire
Yeah.
episode?
Still on the topic of Mandalorian, did you see how like the composer of the score, like he won an Emmy?
Yep. An Emmy, yeah.
Did you see how he accepted it?
No.
So he got on. He was like obviously remote. He got on there with his baby dressed up as Baby Yoda.
Oh,
No
that's fucking
shit.
great.
Oh, that's
It
awesome.
was great.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, it is. I agree with you. Mandalorian is the best thing to happen to the franchise since The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Like the hype that went into The Force Awakens and how people walked away from it is what it is.
Mm.
But yeah, the anticipation for this new season, because you got a lot of non-Star Wars fans that are into this.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the brilliance lays. It's okay, how do we hit an audience? And this has nothing to do with Disney. The fact that it's on Disney Plus is just a boon for them. It's the fact that you put Star Wars fans in charge and said, okay, we're going to make the movie that the content that we want to see, and we're going to do it in such a way that people are going to fall into it.
Yeah.
It's not fucking Star Trek CGI. This is everything looks legit. We're using real effects to max extent possible and make a good fucking show that people are going to be into.
And that's what you get when you put talented guys, you know, behind the camera. When you put a J.J. Abrams or a fucking Jon Favreau or somebody who grew up as a fan of Star Wars.
Yes.
And not like The Mandalorian excluded. Look at Favreau's work. Like, you're talking like fucking Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like,
I heard that was big. I heard that the Iron Man character is kind of important.
Was
these
it
days.
big?
Yeah.
Look, even I was into Iron Man. I like the first Iron Man movie is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's what you get when you put the right creative minds in charge of these either movie trilogies or fucking TV series or whatever. So we just need the right mind in charge of the whole fucking Lucasfilm, and we'll be good.
How'd your boy like ESB in the theater?
Well, he'd seen it before, so like, it wasn't as big a thing for him. But I thought it was cool for me because I hadn't seen it in the theater since '97.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I completely forgot about that too.
I had pimped you earlier in the week, but I think the week just got away from us, and quite frankly, I don't know that I could have made it. But I'm still, me personally, I'm still a little skittish about the theater environment, and I know the theaters have been empty.
Yeah, it was.
So it's not really a thing.
I think there was 6 other people in the theater with us, and we were all spread out because basically once when you go on the app, you pick your seats, and then
they block out everything around you.
Block off everything around you.
Yeah,
in front of you and to the side.
That's what happened when we saw Breakfast Club.
Did you?
Same thing.
How many people were at the Breakfast Club when you went in there?
I mean, it was a fairly full theater. Like, I mean, obviously each group had 4 seats around them blocked off, but like every available seat was filled.
I don't think we talked about it a lot when we talked about the movie.
Yeah.
Like how many people were in there. What was the demographic of the people in there?
It was people actually our age and younger.
Really?
There were people that were in there that were probably 10 years younger than us. And they were actually quoting the movie as lines came up.
Interesting.
So yeah, like fucking 30-year-olds in there, like spouting off the lines as Judd Nelson was saying them. So
it's fucking 30-year-old younglings. Fucking how old are we? Jesus Christ. Fucking we're gonna be the boomers here in a minute.
Yeah.
But to your point, and I think to answer the question succinctly, I'm generally speaking, the only thing that excites me right now about Star Wars is flying a TIE fighter on Friday and The Mandalorian.
Yeah. And I mean, those both could be huge. Those both could be huge into getting us back into this franchise. Because right now I'm very indifferent. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm like I saw a post about like the High Republic stuff. They released like images of like this dude's lightsaber and I'm just like, okay, that's cool.
I'm the exact same way. I'm just like, okay, sure.
Like, I'm not excited. And maybe it's just the fact that, okay, this is something that I have nothing to base it off of. I don't know anything about any of these characters that they're bringing in. It's a total unknown other than the fact that it's related to Star Wars. So I don't know what to expect. So maybe that's why I'm kind of about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've never been a huge book guy, so the fact that it's book only is more of a meh for me.
They're obviously not trying to get the big audience for the High Republic shit.
Right.
Because if you're doing it by book only and book by comic, it's the hardcore people.
I mean, if it comes out and people are like, oh, this book is fucking amazing, then sure, I'll get the audiobook and I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out and get it right off the bat and listen.
Well, I'll tell you and whoever's still listening out there, I can tell you right now that if my reading taste is anything to say for it, if I can read this entire thing within a day, then it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like that's why I think for the Thrawn things, I get where you're at in the book, like listening to it. I said for me, pacing wise,
yeah,
my reading pace is different, so I got to the good parts faster.
And I mean, really, I don't see anything wrong with the Thrawn books. It's just nothing has happened up to this point that's really grabbed me.
No, I can see that. So,
all right. Well, I think this would be a great time to end the bonus content and then
Yes.
let you two get home.
yes.
Since Nick, you probably got about almost an hour drive, right?
40-ish.
Oh, we'll get you home by 9.
There you go. Not too
All
bad.
right. Well, thank you,
For
everybody.
you to not go to work tomorrow.
I think it's really probably only Dragon Buddy, Scott, and Luna Girl left in the chat, but
that's my guess because there's 3 watching there.
we do love you guys.
Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football on in Bearshire. Or no, it's Sunday Night Football.
Hope that dude breaks his leg.
So Monday Night Football is all my rowdy friends are here for Monday night.
You need to.
Why is it always country music though?
I don't know. You need to do the what's her nuts for Sunday night.
Yeah, the Sunday Night Football on in Bearshire.
That's a female voice,
right?
Okay.
Because it used to be Faith Hill, now it's Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood. There you go.
All right, Sunday night in the hair.
Are there enough people that actually are into that it like makes a difference who does it? I mean, honestly,
dude, there was a huge country music crowd out there.
No. I'm saying before football, like
before football, it was all Hank Williams.
No.
All my rowdy friends are here for Monday night.
So it's his fault. It's his fault that we have to put up with some fucking nonsense singer before football.
Yes.
Can we just get to football? I'd rather listen to whoever's singing the fucking national anthem.
Scott actually brought up a point that it's not Hank Williams this year.
Well, yeah, because he's conservative, and you're not allowed to be conservative in 2020.
Apparently, Hank Williams Jr. Nope, songs replacing your Monday Night Football. I don't even care. I have no desire to.
Honestly,
to watch
like
Monday
it's
Night
gotten
Football.
to the point where I don't turn the game on until they're kicking off. Like I don't care to I don't care to even see the national anthem because I don't want to hear them talk about who decided to stay in the locker room, who's kneeling, who's doing the.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Just.
Yeah, start the game at the kickoff.
Or hear some fucking sob story about some fucking player's mom who had fucking, cancer or whatever. Like, I'm trying to get away from that reality and watch fucking football. I don't need to hear everybody sob fucking.
It popped up on my memories today. And because this thing was rearing its head last year too, with players kneeling and staying in the locker room and all this bullshit. And it got so focused on that. And it was basically a picture from. Are you a fan of the movie Slapshot?
Oh yeah.
So it was the picture of the Hanson brothers, all bloody and everything, and it says, "When you're just trying to listen to the fucking song."
Yeah. Well, and again, just to reiterate, from a 49ers fan perspective, Colin Kaepernick was no fucking martyr. He was not doing anything for any kind of racial justice. He was a fucking pussy throwing a temper tantrum because the 49ers wouldn't release him like he had requested. So he was just sitting on the bench until the fucking press called him out. And then he's like, I'm doing it for racial justice. So don't ever fucking forget that, people. Colin Kaepernick is no fucking hero. He's no fucking martyr. He's a piece of shit who didn't get his way and acted out and then ended up doing it in the cause of racial justice.
49ers fan definitely would have a better perspective on that.
Exactly.
Because as Eagles fans, can you imagine if that had been out of our locker room? I can't even imagine.
I was gonna bring this up when we talked Eagles, but it kind of slipped my mind. We ran into the technical difficulties, but I've actually come out on my other channel and said when it comes to the protests, the national anthem, and all that BS. I don't necessarily like the fact that people are using the national anthem as their vehicle for their protest. But as a veteran, as a military person, I signed I raised my hand and I swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Yep. And that Constitution guarantees those people the right to speak their mind.
Oh, sure.
However the fuck they want to do it, that is their right. I'll 100% support their right to do it. It doesn't mean I have to like it.
True.
It doesn't mean I have to like the way they do it, but it is their right. And as long as their employer, the NFL, says they can do it on company time, who the hell are you to complain and all these people that every week get on these NFL pages and talk about how they're boycott. Okay, if you're done with football, fucking be done with football.
Yeah.
Stop fucking talking about it.
Be
You
done
come
with-
here every week and say the same shit.
Be done with football because the product sucks,
Yeah.
not because of whatever. We harped on it quite a bit lately, unfortunately. But the polarization of how the media is right now, and that's the driver of a lot of this fucking shit. And guess who? We're watching this product on media-driven outlets, and you can't help but fucking get into it. But like you said, fuck the first 5 minutes of the thing. I don't even give a fuck about they kick it off out of the fucking end zone every time anyway. So who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
You know,
Remember the days when we used to have kickoff returns?
yeah, those were the
Good days.
Now that only happens like when they want to kill clock. You know?
Yep.
Kick it high.
Yeah. So, and also, again, for those people who think Colin Kaepernick is such a martyr, remember, he opted out of his contract with the 49ers.
And
He could have kept playing.
He had an offer from another team, but
Yeah.
it wasn't enough money for him, so
Yeah.
he turned it down.
So again,
and
don't.
then was like, "Oh, I've been blackballed."
No.
Yeah.
You opted out of your contract and then you rejected an offer from another team. So fuck off.
Because he overvalued himself. He
Yeah.
thought he was great when there's like staggering, statistics and video evidence that shows that
Well,
he's not that great.
Yeah, a year and a half prior to that, the rest of the NFL figured him out.
Yeah.
So that's what really happened. So
And Scott Rasmussen, who totally agrees with the sentiment that they haven't had a decent quarterback in San Fran since. Well, earlier he said Jeff Garcia, but I would venture that's probably been since Steve Young, probably.
this is like another hour-long discussion that I don't really want to get into right now. But I disagree with all of those statements. So we'll table that for another time.
You like Jimmy G?
Of course I do.
Oh God!
I mean, was your team in the Super Bowl last year? Because mine was.
Not because of Jimmy G.
Not because of Jimmy G.
I'm just saying.
He was the guy there.
He was our starting quarterback
He was the
the
guy
Super Bowl
handing
season.
off the ball.
Yeah, I don't put Jimmy G up in there with the fucking Big Dick Nick as far as going out there winning Super Bowl MVP. Because
Is Big Dick Nick on your team anymore? Like
No.
who's your quarterback now? Like what are his stats these days?
But you know what?
He's throwing a lot of interceptions.
Did you hear what happened with Big Dick Nick?
Oh yeah, he fucking came in and had better stats in one fucking half.
He came in
than
and threw
Trubisky.
3 touchdowns for the win.
Yeah.
He was Big Dick
But
Nick.
again,
He's with the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it was against the choke artists.
The Falcons.
Atlanta
Jesus,
Falcons.
like this, it's like a fucking running joke at
Yeah.
this
I know,
point.
it's such a shame.
Like
I really like Matt Ryan, and it's a shame that fucking
that loss to the Patriots fucking jinxed them forever.
forever.
You know?
They will be forever known. Fact is, I don't know if Matt Ryan could play for another fucking team. I don't know that he could because he's been so tainted by this.
Yeah.
And like every time they ever blow a lead, that's what's going to get brought up.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, and that's their thing. It's their thing. It's what they do, right?
Yeah,
You know, is they
Get a
blow
good
fucking
lead and then we
leads.
collapse.
and then they keep fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. It's
Yeah.
it's pretty fucking amazing, actually. It could be worse, I guess. It could. I don't know what I'd rather have. I don't know if I'd rather have the Eagles fucking tie against the goddamn Bengals, the Bengals who got
Bengals
beat,
haven't beaten anybody this year.
They
got beat
they
by the
lost-
Browns.
they lost to the fucking Browns,
Yeah.
and then we tied them. It's not a good time to be an Eagles fan right now. It just isn't.
Yeah.
And all the talk on fucking sports radio was these fucking douchebags calling up about, well, see, Nick Foles. Go fuck yourself with Nick Foles. I love Nick Foles. I love what he did for us. Dude's a legend for fucking all eternity in the city. But I don't want him back.
He's a modern day Trent Dilfer, is what he is.
I don't want him back because I know who Nick Foles is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Nick Foles is not the starting quarterback for
No.
any NFL team.
No,
He's
not.
a fantastic backup who
He's-
will play it safe and
He will come in there and he will have a run of like just playing out of his goddamn skull. But then at some point, he will fall back to earth and be the Nick Foles that gets
a lot of it has to do.
gets benched.
A lot of it has to do with simplified playbook. You put your backup in, you're not running the full playbook.
Mhm.
If you run stuff that's easier for a fucking quarterback to run, route structures, you take out some of the complicated shit so that the quarterback can see it easier, get the ball out of his hands, shit like that. It's a lot easier to run an offense that way than like what you got with Dougie P right now, who's got this super intensely fucking complicated playbook where what they need right now is to go back to basics.
Right, because you have no talent is the problem on the offensive side.
Everyone's hurt.
The offensive line, like even the guys that are playing are hurt. Like Lane Johnson looked like dog shit. That ankle is not anywhere near 100%.
Dude,
Jason Peters getting blown off. Both tackles were just getting blown off the ball every play.
Yeah.
And then the dudes in the middle, I don't even know the dude's name.
The fucking two fat bodies.
Yeah. Kelsey's the only solid dude on that line.
Yeah. And
he's small.
I'm going out on a limb here as an Eagles fan, but I can tell you that Tina, eat your ham. I think that we're looking at another probably 5 years where the defense is going to dominate in Philadelphia. You're going to have very limited offense, and the defense is going to dominate.
It's going to be those Reggie White years.
Yeah, it's going to be the Buddy Ryan years.
Yeah,
it's going to be the Buddy Ryan years.
Dominant defense, but you can't fucking win because the offense sucks.
Yep. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback.
We need to get some more black guys on this team.
All right,
offense isn't getting it done, and that's an old Bill Burr skit.
Yeah. A great Bill Burr skit. All right, we ready?
That is a great place to close this out. So
thanks, guys, for hanging out.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Nick, for coming out.
Yeah, man.
Good shit all around.
Peace,
bitches.